for those of you that are here with me today. I appreciate you. For those of you that were in the service to our country, I appreciate you. My father was in the Army during the Korean War. I was in the Army during the Persian Gulf War. And some of the things that I have seen, some of the things I've experienced, and some of the losses that have happened is all in pursuit for those of you that live here and able to live the life that we have in the United States. And for my Canadian friends, sorry, I just want to take a moment out in order to share how I feel about this country. So now all of you know a little bit about me without me ever having to tell you. So if you're in the service, thank you for your service to our country. If you've experienced loss because of a service member who's passed away in defense of our country, I feel for you. I am right there with you, all of you. Happy 4th of July. Here we go. It is new agent class 2013. Let's nail it. How are we doing this morning, everybody?
Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing?
Good morning,
Good.
Sam.
Good.
Happy
Good.
4th.
Happy 4th, everyone.
I love it.
Thank you for your service, Sam.
Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
Sam.
service.
Thank you very much, everybody. It is a very glorious day. I promise I'm not going to keep you here for hours upon hours because, my gosh, we have things that we have to do. But we took a moment out to reflect on the fact that the USA is here, et cetera, et cetera. That's great. Hopefully, some of you have plans. I know I live on top of a little hill in San Jose, and we get to look out across the valley and see all of the fireworks that go off, and a lot of people come up there and park their cars up there and they enjoy it. Hopefully you'll enjoy pardon me, your 4th of July. I know that I have to barbecue. I was told that that is my duty for the day. So we're going to see if we can't get through all of this in the next 2.5 hours. Hopefully none of you have committed to your upline that you're going to share any time with them after class today. That'll be my gift to you for this blessed 4th of July. So you know how we do it every single morning. We talk about what the heck happened yesterday. Melanie Trotter, welcome. I don't think I saw you yesterday. Is that accurate, or did I just miss you?
You missed me. I was present yesterday until about 3:15.
Uh-huh.
So I'm sorry that my microphone was up. So sorry. Good afternoon or good morning, Sam. Thank you very much for your services. I do appreciate that. Yes, I was present yesterday until about 3:15. So I did watch the fabulous, was his name Brandon?
Brandon Neal.
Yeah, Brandon Neal. He had some great tips and pointers, and kept it real. So I feel like Brandon Neal keeps it real. So yeah.
You know what's funny about I'm glad you were here, Ashton. I'm glad you got to see that. Brandon Neal, I could say all the same things that he says, and I think the weight that it would carry would be completely different, right? And so what I do is try to stay away from what he talks about. So when he comes in, he brings that much more of an impact. And it's my way of giving back to this class that they can hear other voices and other perspectives. And really remember, everybody here, remember what I told you, plagiarize. Right? Take from whoever you listen to or whoever gives you advice, take from them what's going to work for you and make it your own. And then give it back by passing on to someone else if you can, right? So Brandon, absolutely a stellar guy, does a great job getting people hyped up. Sometimes he goes for longer than he went yesterday. But hey, anytime we can get with him is great. Oh my gosh, do I see Jessica Smith and Jordana? I thought you two were ill and you weren't able to join us. Isn't that right? Or is that someone else?
Yeah, that was yesterday, but we didn't want to miss anymore.
Did you send me your picture of your little COVID test? Was that you?
Yep, that was.
We have COVID. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm glad that you can join us today. So I know you probably weren't feeling well. All right, so let's see. Keisha Lumpkin, did you work with your upline yesterday?
I did not.
You did not. Okay, how come?
I tried to contact them. I haven't gotten a response. Also, since I wasn't able to get a response, I don't have the login for the eApp. I received the PDF you sent us or put in the chat yesterday, but that's all I have at this point.
Well, that's unfortunate. When you say the login, are you talking about AWS so that you can get to the website to download the software?
Correct.
Oh my goodness. Who's your upline?
Francisco and Begonia. I know when I wrote in the chat in Telegram, he did tag Begonia to respond, and I think I responded again, but I still haven't received a response yet.
It is just fascinating to me because everyone knows, what they need in order to be successful. So, oops. Hold on one second, okay, everybody? I mean, it is the 4th of July. Let's see what the odds are I can get somebody on the phone. Are the odds good? I think the odds are poor. That's just me, right? It's 4th of July. Well, I will tell you this, Keisha, you're going to have to follow along with us. Unfortunately, if you don't have the software downloaded. Okay, she has an answer. Maybe she'll call back. Okay, so you didn't work yesterday.
This
Whoa,
Don
whoa,
Belcher.
whoa. Don, you got to raise your hand. We all forgot that from the beginning of the class.
No,
Have fun. Don.
thank you. I'm also under Francisco, and I've got a link I can forward to her.
Give her the login then. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I need just need her email.
Well, no, just send it to her in the chat, direct to her. In the chat in Zoom, just send it to her. She has the link. She needs the password and login to AWS. You have that, Don?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah. Go ahead and send that directly to her. Okay, Melanie Trotter, your hand is up. What can I do for you? Melanie.
I'm sorry. I also have a problem with the eApp. Downloaded it and then got to a technical issue where I have to call IT yesterday. So my upline Shayla and Ashley, they know because I, CC'd Shayla in the email. She gave me all the information. So my problem with eApp is technical, I guess.
Okay, so hold on. So I'll get. Hold on one second. Yeah, you can only send messages to you or the class. So you can. Whoever was asking for it. Keisha, can you put your email in the chat and then Dawn can send it to you via email? All right, so that's one thing. And then Melanie, you said you have a technical issue. So is your technical issue that you can't download eApp?
Basically, so I downloaded and then right when the picture of the little family comes up and it says something about software, update software, something like that.
Yeah.
Shayla told me to click that and then a box popped up to put in a username and a password.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't do any, like they said the username and password didn't work. So I used what my password for AWS.
All right, can you do me a favor? Can you bring up that screen? Don't log into it and share it with me.
Okay.
Share the screen when you get there and I'll help. I'll see if I can't fix it. LD Arias, did you get a chance to work with your upline yesterday?
I did. We are working on the script and the rebuttals and back and forth with that and still working on that.
Okay, awesome. Who's your upline?
It's Michael, but I worked with Dominic yesterday, which was great. It's been a different person every day, but it's been really good. Okay,
so you're in the Dushai hierarchy, correct?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, they're good guys. They know their stuff. And they're really, really good. Did you get the phone training last week?
Yes, they just keep saying I have to be more aggressive.
Well, it's aggressive. How about let's be more assertive, control.
Yeah, and loud and bubbly.
Yeah.
Last night the word was bubbly.
Remember what I told you on the emotional granularity wheel, right? If you're much more effusive and whatnot, people are going to respond to that. They like for their people to be loud. I know, I've been in that Detroit office. They are loud.
Said.
Yeah. But
hey,
whatever.
I can't hear you. I'm like, okay.
Dan Fisk, while we're waiting for, what happened to her? Did we lose her? Anyway, while we're waiting for her to share her screen, Dan, did you work with your upline yesterday?
Yes, I did. My RGA is Jesse Doherty, and my direct trainer is Gavin Gambier. Gavin's out of town, so we worked with Jesse yesterday. I actually got to watch him do a live presentation. So,
all right.
Yeah.
All right, where did she go? Did we lose her? She's gone. Does anybody see? I even forgot her name.
I see her. Melanie's still here.
I think
Melanie.
she might be on a call. It looks like she's talking.
Oh, okay. So we'll wait for her. All right, no problem.
No, the thing is, Sam, that I have another computer, so I gotta get it and then pull it up, and I guess I'll turn it to the screen. I can't share it with you because, well, I guess if I log in on my other device,
Just
I have
log
a
in.
Mac and I got a HP laptop yesterday, so yeah. So I'll
Okay.
log in on Zoom on my HP and then share the screen with you. Okay.
Okay. And just so everybody knows, what I'm trying to do, since we got 2 days, is I'm just trying to get everyone set up to a common baseline, and then I'm going to run, just so you know. Today is all about just showing you the pieces. I don't expect us to know everything, remember everything. It's to create the video so you can refer back to it. And tomorrow, then we'll practice setting up everything, okay? I'm not setting it up, but we'll practice using it and actually put applications through the system. All right, that's what the game plan is. All right, anybody, is Breezy here, or did she not make it today? Where is she? No, Breezy's not here, okay. Sarahjeet. The B is silent, right?
It's Sarabjit, yeah.
Sarah, it's what?
Sarabjit.
Sarah, oh, the B is there. Sarabjit. Okay.
Yes.
How are you doing today? Did you work with your upline yesterday?
Yes, actually, we had the eApp set up, and it was just a debrief of what we learned in the class.
A debrief. Okay, that's awesome. Who's your upline?
We worked with Jesse yesterday. Jesse and
Doherty.
Gavin. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's great. I love it. Yeah, those guys in Canada, you all are on top of your game. Arabelle Rosario, what can I do for you?
Hey, how many people did the DBR today? Just curious.
The DRB?
Yeah.
That's a good point. Let's see how many people have done it. Let's go to the submissions. So I know someone put it on there, and then I put it on there. We should have a high attach rate. We have 34 out of 48. Well, we had 54. Will we lose 5 people already? Okay, so 34. That's not bad. Not bad at all. And I know that we're still trying to get it done. Ty, what can I do for you?
Actually, I have a question for Dan, because we're on the same team, and I wonder, how did he get to watch a presentation and I didn't? Because I wanted to as well.
Hey, Dan, that's a question for you, not for me. I can't answer.
Yeah, no. So I needed Jesse to help me submit my state application, And so while we were in the middle of doing that, he got called into a room to do a presentation. He said he was 10 minutes late. He didn't realize. So he asked me if I wanted to watch, and I got to watch. It wasn't really a planned deal.
I see. Okay.
Yeah,
Lucky you.
yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. No, yeah. I do feel kind of lucky. So
It was probably like an on the spot.
Did he close it? Just out of curiosity.
No, he didn't close it. It ended up being a current member that he was just going over benefits with and getting referrals.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah.
Angel Garcia, what can we do for you?
So I've been trying to find the Friday class. I ended up having to watch a different class because Fridays wasn't up for our class. So I missed that day. I was actually in a sit with my upline for like 3 hours. So I missed class, and I didn't know I was going to miss class that day. It was not supposed to take that long. But yeah, it's not on YouTube. I can't find it. And I never got an email about Friday's class.
Yeah, I haven't. You're right, because I was in Detroit. I haven't put that one up there. So I'll put it up there tonight along with this one. That's a good call. I'm looking at it right now. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. So 5 I missed. So I will do that tonight, I promise. Okay. And then I'll let everybody know that the video is up there for both days. Thank you for letting me know. I appreciate that. Jose Bravo, good morning. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, Sam. How about you?
I am well. Did you get a chance to work with your upline yesterday?
Yeah, I had the opportunity to watch presentation yesterday.
With
Michael Connor.
Michael Connor. Okay, very nice. I like it. Did he close it?
Yeah, he did. Was pretty good.
All right. So you know when I ask, and it's my fault. I have to say it again. So when I ask if you work with your upline, you tell me who the upline is. You tell me what you watched, and if they had a presentation, you tell me how many referrals they generated, and if they closed it, how much ALP did they get, and how much you would have gotten paid on Friday if you had been the one closing it. All right. So let's try again. Jose, did you work with your upline yesterday?
Yes, I work with my online Michael Connor. I watched presentation. He closed that deal. Was a small deal, but still he closed it. So it was about 600 AOP. He collected 2 referrals.
Two referrals? Was it a veteran?
Yeah, because it was an interesting presentation because the guy, he didn't have like close family. Like he only put his goddaughter, his ex-wife. So I don't know.
Okay. And how much would you have gotten paid on that deal?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. I didn't make the call.
I understand. I'm asking you if you would have sold that deal, how much would you have got made? It's to help us remember how much money we make. So how much would you have gotten paid?
Me or $240 for that deal.
$240. So how did you do that? You took 600.
I put 640 AOP.
Oh, 648.
Yeah, 640 AOP.
All right. Gotcha. Perfect. Yep, 243. Okay, very nice. All right, so let's go back. So everyone, please log into your eApp and have that ready to go. And where did she go? I lost her. She's not showing up on my main screen. Is she still in here? Where'd she go?
No, I don't see her. I think
Are
she
you
might
guys-
have. She might be.
Are you guys looking for me again?
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
there you are. Yeah,
What?
we were.
So the eApp, it's installing. It has the search bar up, it's installing.
Okay.
Who was it sent me the code maybe to try the other one? So I'm waiting for that box to pop back up. And
I
then
sent you the
try
username and
training.
password. I can resend it if you'd like.
No, I got it. Thank you.
Okay.
What's your name? I'm so sorry.
Romario.
Romario. Okay, Romario. Thank you.
No,
So
course.
soon as it's just saying, please wait. So soon as it loads, but I'll follow along, Sam. Don't hold class up for me. I'll follow along and I'll watch the video.
Okay, no worries. Alejandro Nunez, what can I do for you?
I started out sick yesterday. Do you want us to log in with the training or with if we actually create a profile, log in with the profile?
No, I want you to log in with the training login. So it
Okay.
should be eApp training, and then the passcode is training.
Got it. Thank you.
LD Arias, what can I do for you?
Yeah, I'll also do if they could send it to me as well, and I'll follow along and watch the video because I had trouble getting into eApp as well. Training. I tried what you sent yesterday and it didn't work. And like I said, I have a new laptop, so a lot of things are not
Can
working
you
as they
share
should.
your screen with me?
Yeah, there's nothing there because I couldn't get anything done. I couldn't get in at all. What do you want me to do?
The agency is AO. You have to select AO, Jorge. I want you to share your screen with me so I can see where you're at.
I'm nowhere. Where should I go? That I couldn't find the link wasn't working, so I don't have it anymore.
Okay.
Or the page you said to enter.
Okay, can you share your share
a blank page? My browser. Gotcha.
Your browser.
Share my browser.
And then Brianne, I see your statement there. Yeah, sometimes depending upon your pipeline and how big your internet connection is, the downloading can take a very long time. Absolutely, because it's downloading a lot and it's from 2.5 years ago. All right, is this Chrome that I'm looking at?
Yeah, I went to Chrome because it said that it would be better, but it's
so
no.
Type in aws.planetaltic.com. Well, do you remember downloading it ever?
I did, but it was in my other computer and then it wasn't working. Remember, it was the Chromebook,
Okay.
so I couldn't get
It's
into it at all.
aws.planetaltig, ALTIG.com.
Oh, yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't do that.
That's okay. All right, so this login and password is not yours. This is the one from your upline.
Got it.
Remember? Okay.
Oh, no. Oh, okay. So like my regular.
No, it is not your,
No.
I told you, it's not yours, it's your uplines. Remember I said that to get to this website, to log in, you've
Yeah,
got to use your uplines? So you have the upline, right? Because you downloaded this once before. LD?
Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't know what you're talking about. What do you mean my upline? It's something he gave me?
LD, I've said this a few times. To log in here, you have to be an agent with an agent ID. If you don't have one yet, then what happens is you need to have your uplines log
Oh
in.
yeah, I
and
messaged, but haven't heard back yet.
But you
I'll
just
follow
told me
along.
that hold on, LD. You told me you downloaded this into your Chromebook, correct?
I tried. I never got in.
Okay. So what? Oh, you've never been able to get into this
No.
website.
No,
Okay.
correct.
Who's your upline?
Michael,
Michael Connor?
correct.
Oh, LD, that's so not good. No, LD, you should not have told me that. That is not good.
That's okay. I messaged him, but
Connor,
I don't know.
he
Yeah, he's
hasn't
really good.
responded to you?
Well, today is a holiday, so I'm not going to bother him today. And
Why
yesterday,
wouldn't? Whoa. Why
it says
wouldn't you bother him?
notifications are silent. So I sent it again, but notifications are silenced. He's not receiving messages today.
Is not available at the tone.
We were told yesterday that today would be an off day, that nobody was going to be working this afternoon.
Okay, so LD, I'm going to give you a login and password right here, okay? I'm going to send it to you on the chat, and I want you to use that to get into this particular website, because we really got to have LD, you're killing me.
Sorry.
Well, the reason you're killing me is because it's been 7 days that we've been together now, and I told you on day one that this needed to be done by Monday night, right? And here we are on Tuesday, and you haven't even been able to log into this website. And Michael Connor's your upline. He used to teach this class, so he knows exactly what needs to be done. All right, that first phrase is the username. The second phrase is the password. Can you put that in there right now?
Hold on a second. Okay.
Just copy and paste it in there, LD.
Gonna try. Remember my technology challenge. It copies the whole thing. Is that the whole thing?
LD, the first name in there is the username. So copy and paste that into the username, and then the second phrase.
I know it's copying the whole thing. So give me a second, please, or go on and I'll do it on my own.
No, we're going to wait. We're going to wait because I want to make sure that you get started. Because once you start downloading it, it's going to take a while. I would assume. Romario, you got any plans for the 4th of July?
Yeah, we're gonna go down to the beach, barbecue, play some volleyball.
Which beach?
Hermosa.
Oh yeah, that's a rough life you got there.
What?
I said that's a rough life. I gotta go to the
Why?
beach. I'm being sarcastic.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like it's actually not a good beach. I thought you lived by Huntington or something. No, Hermosa is pretty nice. The nightlife there is pretty good too. And I'm just gonna go with a couple of friends. George is gonna be there, so I'm probably gonna bother him, practice my script.
You need to follow George because he's apparently doing really well. Okay, now LD, congratulations. In the upper right-hand corner, do you see where it's set? Yeah, don't save the password.
Don't save that.
In the upper right-hand corner, do you see where it says eApp download?
Hold on one second. Let me move this out of here. It says what? I'm sorry?
At the very top, it has a
Yes.
button that says eApp download. Go ahead and click
Got it.
on that. And click on download. Okay, so
Sam,
it's
I don't know if you'd like me to add it. Just might not work because you're saying Chrome. It only works with Chrome, and that's not Chrome.
well, no, it works best with Chrome.
Oh,
Not that
okay,
it
okay.
works. So open the file right at the top that says eApp setup AIL. Let's see if we can get this to work. Because then I feel like I've had a very successful day if we can get LD's computer to at least start the process.
So I hit
Did you
next.
click on open file? Yeah, if there's a next, click on next. And we can't see it.
Oh, okay.
So what is it?
Yeah, for
right now?
yourself or for anyone who uses this computer, no one else uses the computer.
Okay.
It's downloading.
Yay. Okay, so it's going to take a while. And then once it actually downloads, you'll open it and then you'll log in using the training login. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Sorry about
absolutely. No, there's nothing to be sorry about. That's exactly why I'm here. I want to make sure people are starting off at all at the same baseline. Okay, you can stop sharing because I am going to look at the jot forms that have been submitted, and then we are going to get started. So we have one of two ways we can do this, everybody. I could take a break at some point, or I can just power on through. It is entirely up to you how you want to do this. So I'm going to ask one person to give me the decision, and that's going to be Emily Pressler. Emily, are we taking a break or am I powering through this?
Let's power through, but I actually have my hand raised for another question too.
Okay, what is your question?
Is it okay if at like 12:30 I jump to my phone so I can actually head out and go to work for the 4th of July?
Yeah, whatever you need to do, absolutely.
All right.
Whatever you need to do, okay?
But yeah, we can power through it.
All right,
Anybody
awesome.
should have
Well,
a
I
problem
can't
with that.
get my jot form to come up, so I'll come back to it. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Here we go. I am going to fire up my system here, and then I'll share my screen once I get it working. All right, so let's share my screen. This is what I see, and I will let you all see it as well. Okay, here we go. So this is how my screen comes up right now because I have not updated it in 2 weeks or in a week. Usually it's once a week, it has to be updated. I don't have the ability for sales button to show up. I only have transmit applications and update software online. I can't even click on transmit applications because again, it's been 21 days since the last update because I spent 2 weeks in, where was I? Detroit, Michigan. So I need to update. So what I'm going to do is click on update. And when I do that, even if I clicked on the other buttons that are available, you still have this. So the agency is going to be AO and I have to select it. I can't type it in. And then the username is going to be eApp training. And the password is going to be the word training. I'm going to go ahead and click login and it's going to do its thing. It's going to see if it needs to do any updating. In this case, I don't have any updates that need to be applied. So it's now going to generate an index of sales, which means it's looking to see if in fact I have anything in the system, and I'll get back to that later about what that is and what it's doing. So this is the first screen that shows up. I'm going to close it for now because I'm going to walk through the menus up here first. So up here, click on File. You have Presentation and Survey, the Super Combo. When you click on that, this screen will pop up. This is where you're first going to start the process of opening an application or creating an application, better way to put it. So I'm going to close that for now and I'll keep coming back to it. The next one is the application package wizard. That is this screen. And what this is a list of all the application packages that you've created that you haven't either deleted or submitted to the home office. So as we do this together, you're going to find that you will create a bunch of these or at least one of these together. Okay. And I'll come back to that about what happens. Log off means you log off, the software stays open. Exit means you're going to log off and exit the application. The last screen here is the submit and sales status. Once you actually successfully submit an application to the client and they sign and execute it, it comes back and it will sit right here and it will have the name of the client, your agent number, how many forms were included with that application portfolio, the total amount of cash collected, and how long it's been sitting in there. Note, you can only keep things in this section for 3 days. So you can hold an application and you can talk to your upline about how to do it for 10 days, but it's at the aws.planetaltig, not here at the whatever screen this is, the sales status screen. Okay. All right. So the next thing up here is, let's close that and click on File. And we're going to go to the next one called Referrals. Now, referrals, this, let me back up just a second. This entire application package was built for demonstration in the home. So everything that we do here, including videos, everything that you see is where we would use the laptop, turn around and show the client directly. Now HB Pro has been created and updated constantly, and we no longer need to use this section for sponsors or recruiting. That is done completely through HB Pro for sponsors. And if you want to recruit one of your clients, just take down their information and provide it to your upline, because the upline has specific ways in how they put the information into the system. Tommy Barrett, what can I do for you?
So once we go through our whole presentation on HP Pro, are we still with the customer on here?
Yes.
Like, are they seeing
Yeah.
this?
So HP Pro, we're going to get all the way through to the end, and the client's going to say, yeah, I'd love to buy the $7,000 a year package. And you're like, okay, great. Then you're going to let them know that I'm going to open up the application software itself, which is eApp. And they're going to see this in its entirety. So you no longer need to show HP Pro, you're going to show eApp. In the future, eApp will be integrated with HP Pro and you won't have to replicate information, but that's not the case yet. Okay? So under referrals, you don't need to do sponsors or recruiting. You can skip that. If you try to click on videos, we don't show any of the videos here. Next thing across is tools. Under tools, you have backup manager. So if I click on that, what this does is it sets up a location where you're going to back up your data. Now, we highly advise that you use either the cloud or you use a removable flash drive. So this way, if your computer crashes, your hard drive crashes, whatever the case may be, you can actually recover the information. So the way you manage the backups, you can say, I want to back up the sale, all the recruiting, sponsorships are archived. So you can just leave it at the default. That's perfectly fine. If you do have to back up to another computer, the process is you have to download eApp on the new computer, get it updated, do all that stuff. Then you come into the backup manager and you click on restore, and then it will ask you where the directory is for the backup. Okay, it doesn't happen very often. Matter of fact, I've never heard of it happening in the time I've been here, but it's available to you in the event that something does happen. If you have any questions at any point, let me know. So the other tool are options. And what I want all of you to do for now is put your phone number in here of 800-555-1212. When you have your own agent ID and your own profile, the number that should go in there and the address would be the address of the office. So I live in San Jose, but the office that I'm attached to is in, where is it? It's in Southern California. So whatever office you're attached to, that's what you would put in here. And the reason that we have to put the phone number in here for now is because it will ask you, if you don't have a phone number, it'll ask you to input it when we start to do the application submittal. Okay. You can have this thing auto save every 5 minutes. That's the default. You can have it go longer, shorter, at least 5 minutes is where I would put it. And that is the options. The master form list, if you try to click on that, you don't see anything currently. And then help, this is very important. So the about is obviously the version. You can see the version number is 11.18.35. All of you should have that version. It goes from 2002 through 2023. Tammy Vasquez, what can I do for you?
Yeah, hi Sam. My backup, it's grayed out on tools. Where am I?
So you're saying you can't click on backup manager and get this screen?
Right. On the drop down, I just have options and master form list.
Okay, well, there's nothing to worry about for right now.
Okay,
We'll come back to it, okay?
thanks.
So we talked about the about. We should all be at 11.18.35. So when we close this, the next one is really important. What I want you to do is write down this phone number and write down this email address. So the phone number is 888-804-9823. And the email is eapphelp@ailife.com. Here's what happens when you're working in the field and you have an appointment and then you try to go into eApp and eApp's not working for you. You can't log in. Something you were doing it yesterday and then today you can't do it. The first thing I want you to do is contact your upline or your peers and see if they're having problems. Every once in a while, the servers act squirrely and eApp will not work. It's usually out for a period of minutes, but keep in mind that American Income knows that without eApp working, they can't generate any revenue. So they have people all about it, jumping on it. The reason I want you to check with your upline first is if it's a larger outage, they'll be aware of it, or they'll go up the line and let some senior people know who will then pick up the phone and talk to them. The reason that you have the phone number and the email for you is sometimes your profile, excuse me, will become corrupted. Those of you that were agents in the past and you're trying to come back into the organization, you'll have problems with eApp because you'll have two different profiles. Or someone who's been here for a while, maybe your profile gets corrupted somehow. In order to get that fixed, AO can't do it and neither can your upline. It's got to be American Income. And if you can't get into eApp, then you can't get to this information, which is why I want you to write it down. Now, note that if you call them or you submit an email, you will get a trouble ticket. They have over 10,000 agents that they support on a daily basis, and you will be put into the queue. Okay? So what they want is your agent number, this, if you can get in at all. If you can get in but it's not working, then state where you were when it happened. Okay, Anu, no worries. So let's close that one and then let's go to Underwriting Field Manual. When I click on that, I get a PDF file that pops up on my desktop automatically. At least I think I do. Where are you at? Well, it did. Oh, there it is. I'm grabbing the wrong thing. So it pops up and it looks like this. You all should do that and save this to your computer because you will be referring to it. This is a
I'm
very
sorry, where
important
did you click
document.
to get to that? I missed it.
I'm sorry, who's this?
Ty.
Okay, Ty. You got to do me a favor, Ty. Raise your hand so I know who you are. Right here, I clicked on Help and I clicked on Underwriting Field Manual.
Okay.
Okay. And again, when I do that, never mind about that. Whoa, what happened? Where'd you go? What happened? It left me. Try again, Underwriting Field Manual. Okay, here we go. So when I do that, this PDF document comes up. And what I was saying is that all of you should download this PDF document because this has all the information under the sun that you need in order to understand or become familiar with the things that you need to do with underwriting. Because remember, one of our roles is as a field underwriter. Okay, come on, get out of here. All right, let me just kill that one and then continue. Okay, so the way that this one works, it has an automatic decline sheet. So that's one that's in your HP Pro. It's also in your student or new agent packet, and it's also here. If I click on it, it will jump to that screen, which is the build charts. Is it the build charts? What happened? Okay, no, it's after the build charts. See where it says right here, the underwriting flash sheet? In the business that you're in, or at least with American Income Life, this is also called the auto decline sheet. It's really important that you have this at your fingertips at all times because if you're talking to a client and they tell you either about a habit or a medical condition, you always want to refer to this sheet. And the way that you do this is you look it up. Let's say they have breast cancer. So we look here, they have breast cancer. If they were treated within the last 2 years, then an X indicates they are an auto decline. We cannot write an application on them. Now, because of its breast cancer in 2 years, if they're a year into it, they just have to wait for a year and then we'll write up a policy. The logic there from an underwriting perspective is we don't know if the cancer will metastasize, but if you've gone 2 years without any issues, then your risk of getting it again goes down to a list that's acceptable for us. Notice for the cancer, you can't write a policy for life, health, or disability, but you can write it for accidents. So you can give them the A71. So this is a perfect scenario with you're talking to the husband and wife. The wife was diagnosed with breast cancer. You still can provide life insurance for her. You just put her under the accidental death and dismemberment through the A71. Ty, your hand is still up. Do you have another question or is that from before?
Yeah, I can't open any of that. I click and nothing happens. I was wondering if maybe you could email us these PDFs, please.
Well, this document, the underwriting flash sheet, is in your new agent packet and it's in HP Pro. Secondarily, you should be able to open it. It's how your Adobe Acrobat is set up on your computer. So when you click on it, does it show something in the lower left-hand corner asking you to open the file?
Nothing happens.
Do you have Adobe Acrobat loaded on your computer?
No.
So how did you open any of the files the 21 files that I sent you?
The Mac default program.
Oh, so you're using an Apple computer?
Yes, and I have parallels for this.
Okay, gotcha. So what's happening is the Parallels virtual Windows environment, it probably doesn't have Adobe Acrobat on it. That's what the issue is.
By default, they should open up in the browser, like likely Edge or something if you don't have
Yeah,
it.
it should, and it's not happening either.
Okay. Yeah, that's strange. Anyway, the underwriting flash sheet is in HP Pro and it's in your so let me show you that because I think that that's important because we need to use every tool that's available to us in order to successfully get the information. So I'm going to go to HP Pro. I'm going to type in my username and password. And when I log in, I'm going to click on Launch HP Pro. And down here at this screen, I'm going to go to Underwriting Manuals. Okay. When I click on the Underwriting Manuals, this comes up. Now, if I hit the down arrow without typing anything in, it's going to give me the build chart, the flash sheet, which is the one that we're talking about, the auto decline list, and the underwriting guidelines and procedures. So everything that was in eApp is also in here. So if I were to type in breast cancer, see it shows up as breast cancer and cancer breast. So when I click on it, this tells me exactly what the definition of breast cancer is, but also tells me what we can do. So we can say, okay, there it is, the underwriting actions. They require a 2-year waiting period from the time of surgical removal or completion of all therapy, and I can't do that. Now, also, if you have breast cancer on A&H, you cannot get accidental health for a minimum of 10 years. That's on the H3400, but for the A71, you can get it unless you're disabled due to the breast cancer. So Ty, for you, you don't necessarily need the PDF files, and I can't email those to you. Just give me, later today, and I'll send them out. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, but you can have your HP Pro and everything I talk about. You can look up, and it'll be right here. So the bill chart is here as well, the same bill chart that's in this new agent packet, as well as in the PDF file that's right here. So if I scroll up on this a little bit, there's the build chart. So the same thing that we saw in HP Pro. Irene, what can I do for you?
My computer kind of froze there. I didn't see how you got to that drop down on HP Pro to get the same stuff.
Oh, so on HP Pro, I'm going to click right here on the little icon that says Underwriting Manuals. And when I do that, typically it would come up as blank, right? But since I opened it already, it would just show this, and you can put in the build chart, or you can hit the down arrow and go to the build chart first, or click on the flash sheet, and that's the same one that I showed you in eApp.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. The reason I like HP Pro, everybody, is faster for me. So what I'll do is I'll move HP Pro off to the side, a different screen, and I'm showing the client this screen for whatever I want them to see on eApp. But I'm looking at this screen, and when they give me any type of condition, somebody give me a condition. Areem, give me a condition. Areem.
Lupus.
Lupus. So I'm going to, off to the side, I'm going to type in lupus and it shows up there. So I'm going to click on it. It's going to tell me what lupus is for my own notification. But what I'm more concerned about is here. Can I sell them a life insurance policy? So to be considered, the applicants have to be over 19 and have been diagnosed more than 2 years ago. Now they'll probably get rated depending upon the date of diagnosis and severity. So what I would then tell the client is, hey, based on, when underwriting does its stuff, you're probably going to get rated for the insurance. So if it quoted you at $98 a month, you may get rated and it cost you an extra 20. I won't know until underwriting comes back and tells me. So that's how you use this underwriting on HP Pro. It's a lot faster, but there are plenty of people who don't want to use HP Pro. And so what they do is they print out the underwriting, the underwriting manual, which is this thing here, and it works relatively the same way. Let me make this a little bit bigger. You could do a search for lupus. So I can do a Control F, type in lupus, and then there's 7 locations where lupus is listed. There's the first one. I click on it, and now it tells me what I can do. Angel, what can I do for you?
So I just wanted to understand in the parts where it says, like, one part it said see life, where under the A&H and it deferred to the first part, like that one right there. So does that mean it's like a pending, depending on what the underwriting team decides once you submit?
No, when it says see life, it's telling you to look in this column over here. So the H34, which is the hospital indemnity, that's this policy here. It's saying that the guidelines to be able to sell the H34 is the same as the guidelines for the selling a whole life policy or a term life, any type of life insurance policy. The A71000 is saying, hey, see the underwriting action below. And what it says is approved unless currently disabled. So in this particular case, if someone had, lupus, I could give them life insurance automatically under the A71000. If I wanted to give them a whole life or a term life policy, which is different than accidental death or an accident death benefit, I would have to come over here to the life side and say, okay, what do I need to do? Most cases can be approved. However, it may require a rating. So I would tell them, hey, you're probably going to get a rating if you're trying to buy a whole life or a term life policy. If I just wanted to include them on the accidental death and dismemberment payout on the A71000, then there is no rating. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yes, it does. I guess what I'm trying to understand is if I'm with a client and they, tell me, oh, I have lupus, I'm trying to read this to figure out, okay, what would eventually happen? Are they on auto decline? Are they going to have to wait X amount of time? But where it says
they're not an auto decline. So, sorry. Here's the first thing I would do. If somebody told me that they had lupus, I'm going to use HP Pro because it's faster. I'm immediately going to look at the first sheet, flash sheet. This is the auto decline sheet. So this is available in eApp. It's available in the new agent packet. And I'm going to look up lupus, right? And I'm going to try to find where the heck is lupus at. So once I've done this for a while, I'll remember exactly where it's at.
Okay.
But lupus in and of itself is not an auto decline. I mean, I know that right off the bat. It's not an auto decline. What lupus is as long as it's mild, no progression, then you can submit the application, but it's going to be rated because they have a higher risk of dying sooner. So they'll probably rate that person with a higher cost. And all that means is if you quoted $100 for $20,000 in coverage, the rating will come back and say, hey, if you still want $20,000 in coverage, it's going to cost you $125. If you want to keep your cost the same at 100, we're just going to lower the 25,000 down to 20,000.
Okay, so it's where we see underwriting action. That's where we're going to see what's actually going to happen as far as what the approval is going to be.
Well, no, it's telling you what the guidance is going to be. Underwriting won't do anything until you submit the application and they do all their stuff. That underwriting action is for you as the field underwriter to understand how you should position the situation to the client. That's what it's telling you. So if I scroll down, let's just take another, well, that was lupus, right? So let's take
HIV.
Factor. Well, HIV, you can't sell them anything.
Oh, right. That was
Okay,
in
so
there.
let's say they have, let's find another one. Digestive,
Diabetes.
Crohn's. Let's do Crohn's. Diabetes is a little different animal. Let's say Crohn's. So if I click on that, what the underwriting action is, you must decline within a year of diagnosis. Okay, so what that's telling you is it's an auto decline if they've been diagnosed within a year. If they're over a year, then what happens is they are considered typically a T3 or T6, which means that they're going to be rated. So Angel, if I was talking to you and you said I had Crohn's disease, I'm going without the client seeing any of this right here, I'm going to say, okay, got you. And when I fill out the medical form for you, I'm going to say, well, when were you diagnosed? Oh, I was diagnosed 7 years ago. And then I'm going to say, okay, great. I can go ahead and submit you. Everything's fine. I will let you know that with Crohn's, you will probably get rated. We won't know what that is until underwriting comes back, and I'm quoting you at $100 for 25K. So the rating may be $25 higher. But if that, when that does come back rather, and if that's the case, I will call you and then you can decide what you want to do. Does that make sense, Angel?
Perfect sense. Thank you.
Okay. LD, what can I do for you?
You sort of answered, but why don't we go through the medical history at the beginning, and instead of what if they're automatically going to be declined? Let's say they have HIV. We went through the whole presentation. They wasted their time and we can't cover them for anything, just to give them their benefits that are not.
Well, the majority, pardon me, the majority of, hold on a second, let me do this. There we go. So this is a really good question, actually. The majority of people that you're going to meet with, you'll be able to write policies for. They'll qualify in one way or another. So just know that. They're gonna, typically they'll qualify. Now, if they're husband and wife and one is has medical conditions or past history that won't let them qualify for a life insurance policy the whole life of the term, they'll probably still qualify under the A7-1. There will be times, LD, though, that there will be people who don't qualify. That happens. But the frequency of that happens is much lower than you would think. That's number one. And number two, if I took the whole medical question to see if they qualify and I moved it further forward in the presentation, the likelihood that they would give you referrals or sit through the presentation decreases dramatically. So remember, we're not in the sale. I mean, we're not selling to the client, but we are in the sales business. We know that if you get referrals, you'll make money because a number of those referrals will actually show up to their appointments with you and they'll actually buy. So in my mind, whenever I sit with a client, I don't really care, honestly, if they buy. What I care about is I'm taking care of them. I give them the information that they want and they're giving me the sponsorships. Because the math will work out that I'll get paid after the fact, even if they don't buy. So if you take that approach, LD, you don't really want to move the medical questions that much forward in the presentation, because then they're going to start thinking, well, why are you asking me about my medical history? And now you'd have to explain, well, we want to see if you even qualify. If you do that too soon, they bail out of the presentation.
Oh,
Does that make sense?
Yeah, a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Jessica and Jordana, what can I do for you?
I have a question since like we work with veterans and I see in the middle line that you were showing us, it says approved unless currently disabled. And what if they're like 100% disabled veteran?
Okay, so that's
Would they-
another, this is great. You guys are on a great roll. These are great questions. So disabled from the military is not the same thing as disabled through the government. Okay, so typically disabled through the military means you either experienced like PTSD and you're not able to function, or you're physically not able to function. But that's at the level of performing the duties and responsibilities of a service member. It has nothing to do with what you're capable of doing as a civilian. Okay, so the insurance company is not worried if you are disabled through the military. You are viewed for the purposes of qualification the same way as a civilian. Do you meet the health and habits requirement? That's it. So I have sold to 100% disabled veterans, and they still qualify for everything on the civilian side.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's a really, really good question, because you don't want to think that somebody doesn't qualify just because they're disabled from the military. Maybe they broke a leg, they fell out of a helicopter, they fell down rappelling, I don't know, maybe like me, and you're injured, but you can't do anything you did in the military or your MOS, but you can do civilian work. So you do qualify. Okay. All right, perfect. So let me go back to this. Let me share my screen again. Hand raised. Yes, Melanie Trotter, what can we do for you?
Whenever you get a minute, Sam, I do have my eApp downloaded.
Okay.
So, but I could share my
No,
screen
let's
with
do
you
it right
now
now.
or do it later.
Share your screen really quick and show me where you're
Okay.
at.
Okay.
Well, hopefully we can help you like we did with LD. LD, are you still downloading and updating, or what's happening?
Sorry, you're gonna see yourself. Let me pull it up.
No, you're right there. I see it. Okay, so click on Update Software Online.
Okay, hold on. Okay, but besides that, do you see that it's already right here? So do I still
Yeah, I
need to
see
do
that.
that?
You don't
Okay,
have
so
to do
do
it.
this.
Yep, just click Update Software Online.
Okay.
And no,
This is
it's
where I was
not.
getting stuck.
Yeah, that is going to be eApp training, eApptraining. And the passcode or the password is the word training.
Just training. Okay.
Yep, and then you log in, and now it's going to do what it does to update the software. So that's good. We're in great shape. May take a while. Okay.
Okay. You want me to
So
stop
you can
sharing
stop
now?
sharing. Yeah, you're
Okay.
great. LD, is it updated for you already? LD, are you there?
Yes, it's almost there.
Okay, awesome. I just wanted to make sure it's moving along. All right.
Thank
So
you.
let me share my screen again. Let me go back to where I was before. So again, when you function in your role as a field underwriter, in my mind, you have the new agent packet open, you have HB Pro open, looking at the underwriting, and you have eApp. Okay, you have all three of those tools in order to help you get to where you want to be. So let's go back to eApp. We're here. We've done the help. There's also the adult juvenile height and weight chart. So when I click on that, all it does is it opens a PDF file. And the PDF file is right here, and it shows the weight. So let me walk you through how this works. When you, in the application, you're required to ask them, hey, how tall are you and how much do you weigh? And they're going to give you their height and their weight. You need to check. So let's say that I'm 6'7". So I'm going to scroll down to 6'7", and I weigh 320 pounds. So I'm going to do 6'7". I'm going to go over here until I see 320 pounds. Now I'm looking at this table, so I'm going to go up T2. Pardon me. So this means this individual who's 6'7", 320 pounds is not at a T2 or above, right? Let's say I'm 5'5" and I weigh 250 pounds. So 5'5", I come across 250, I go up, that's a T4. Everyone should write this down. If you are a T4 or higher, then the application must be submitted as a trial. And I'll show you where we do that later. But just know in your minds now, on the height and weight chart, anybody who's a T4 or above must be submitted as a trial. Okay? And then you can see that this is for males and females 16 and over. If you're under the age of 16, you still have to do it. And the reason I know this is because I think I did a 6-year-old, and the 6-year-old weighed, where is he at? 6-year-old. Is this right? No, that's months down here. The 6-year-old weighed like 80 something pounds. I didn't even think about it because I like, oh, they're young. And the application was kicked back to me because I forgot to do this. So again, you're going to look up 6-year-old, you're going to go across. If they're within 34 to 68 pounds, then you're fine. If they're above that, then you need to submit it as a trial. Romario, what can I do for you?
I just had a quick question. So you said anything that's T4 and above has to be submitted as a trial. Is there anything that will be
correct.
auto declined?
Well, the auto decline would happen when you combine somebody above a T12 with an underlying medical condition.
But if he's T12 alone, it's just trial. It's not auto declined.
You could submit it as a trial, but and we'll talk about what that means. But if it gets declined when you submit it as a trial, it doesn't hurt you and it doesn't hurt the client.
Okay.
So keep in mind that for all of us, right, when we act in the function as a field underwriter, what AIL is paying us to do is basically filter out people who do not qualify or let the home office know if somebody is outside the standard parameters for an insurance policy at their age. They pay us a lot of money to do that. If we fail to do that, then our bonuses could be affected. So you want to take your role as a field underwriter very seriously when you're filling out eApp. If you submit somebody as standard and underwriting declines them, two things happen. Number one, it affects you and it lowers your quality score. And the second thing that happens is the client now has it on their record that they have a decline, which means they can't get insurance through us, and more likely they can't get insurance through normal carriers. They'll have to pay a lot more money when they show a decline on their record. Note that there are over 15 different ways that we can get information about health information about you or the client. Anytime an insurance company has ever paid for anything on your behalf, health insurance, anything like that, there's a record of it and we can get it. I will show you as we go through this process that when you sign this document as an applicant, there is a run-on sentence that basically says, hey, you're giving your life away, and anything that we want to know about you, we can find out. If you don't sign that page, you don't get life insurance with us. And that's the same for every insurance carrier, not just us. The number one way we get information is through what's called the Medical Information Bureau. And that is a organization that collates and gathers every last little bit of information that insurance carriers have about each and every one of you. Who do you think runs the Medical Information Bureau? Romario?
Sorry, you said who do I think runs the?
Yes.
Us? That's the state?
Nope, not the state.
The city?
Nope, not the city. Aldi, who do you think runs it?
Well, it has to be a medical organization. It has to be, oh my God, I can't remember the name. But it has to be related to medical because it's all your medical history is, don't know the name.
All right, Cherie, do you know? Cherie, are you there?
Is it insurance? I'm logged in two different places. I'm sorry.
Is it the insurance?
Insurance companies?
That's correct. It is the insurance company. It is not run by the government in any way, shape, or form. The insurance companies manage all that information, which is why when you sign away your life, you are providing access to every insurance company whoever has a record about you. And that's in Canada and the US, by the way, and New Zealand. They run it all. So there's no way to hide. So if you are my client and you lie to me about your medical condition and the insurance company goes and does its underwriting and due diligence and finds out you lied, then we will decline you. And when we decline you, we'll put the reason in for declination. And in some cases, that could follow you forever. Angel, what can I do for you?
I'm just making sure I understand what you just said. So the dental company, like any insurance at all, like dental insurance, all the health insurance companies, all insurance for anything is all connected in one system, and that's the MIB. So all the insurance companies have access to that, no matter like whatever happened, they have access to it in the MIB system.
That is correct. So when you sign in an application for insurance, you're giving them authorization to pull that information. But keep in mind, the Medical Information Bureau is only one of 15. We have 14 other ways that we can get information about you. And we're not talking about credit checks, everybody. We're talking about where the insurance company has paid money to cover your expenses for health care or death or whatever the case may be. Romario, what can I do for you?
Oh, I blinked. Okay, I blinked.
All right, we'll come back to you. Princess Davila, what can I do for you? We can't hear you. Princess, we cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now? Sorry about
There
that.
you go. Yeah, no worries.
Technical difficulty, but if you apply for insurance and you are denied because of your weight because you're larger than a T12, and you go through the whole system and then you have weight loss surgery, how do you get back into the system?
Well, here's the deal. If I'm your, let's not take you personally, but if I have a client who says, hey, I'm 420 pounds, greater than a T12, I would automatically submit you as a trial. That's number one. When I submit somebody as a trial, if they get declined because it was a trial, it does not adversely affect them in their record. So that's really, really important, right? If you think somebody's on the cusp or they're going to be a trial, it doesn't hurt you and it doesn't hurt them if they're declined. The reason why, if we follow through the logic from a business standpoint, if I'm the insurance company and Sam's, or I'm work for the insurance company, Sam Sweet goes out and write a policy and submits it, I'm expecting to do a monthly bank draw. So there's a contract in place, and the moment that happens, then I have to account for that risk as an insurance company, right? And I'm expecting some money to come in to begin to offset that risk. If the agent submitted it as standard and it gets declined, then I have an additional risk of not having the revenue come in. So I want to make sure the insurance agent follows my policy, and so I have a certain standard, and I want them to have at least over 80% quality where they don't have declines coming in. Coupled with that, however, there's going to be times where the agent's like, hey, I think this person falls outside of the standards for coverage. However, they don't fall so far out that they're an auto decline. The insurance company understands that. And so what they'll say is, okay, what we're going to do is we're going to have you submit it as a trial. You won't get dinged if we ultimately decide to decline it. And since we never collected any money from the client, they won't get dinged either. So I'm not, as an insurance company, I'm not expecting the additional revenue to come in for the next 10 years because you submitted as a trial. That being the case, I'm not going to hold it against you. For the client, that works out well. So if I have anybody on the cusp where I think that they should be submitted as a trial, I'm not worried about it, but it does mean two things. One, they don't have coverage. The applicant does not have coverage until the trial is completed successfully, right? And then it only will pull money out of their account. But since we never pulled money out of their account until the trial completes successfully, you don't get paid either. Right. So a trial is a good thing. It helps us get additional business where otherwise we might not get it, but we push it off. We push it down the road because we have to wait for underwriting to do its due diligence. And for all of you, sometimes trials can take 2 weeks. Sometimes they can take 6 months.
Now, I have a second part to that. If they lose the weight and come back down within the T ratios, then we can resubmit.
Well, here's what will happen if we bring this up here. You guys can see my screen still, right? So I'm going to click on here in the underwriting manuals, and instead of Crohn's disease, I'm going to put lap band or weight loss surgery right there. So I'm going to click on that, and it's going to tell me what I need to do. So I have to wait 3 months from the date of the lap band and 6 months if it's a bypass. That's for life. If I want to do accidental health, I have to wait for 2 years. So here's what I would do if they're in that time frame. Depending upon if they're still a T4 or higher, I'm still going to submit them as a trial.
Okay.
Now, if they're under a T4 and it's been over 3 months and it was a lap band, then I'm going to submit them as standard.
Okay,
So
that
you
makes
as the
sense.
agent have to know, and that's why you have to ask additional questions. And by the way, you don't have to remember all the questions. Whatever condition that you put into the application, the form that you need to fill out for medical information automatically is displayed. Okay?
Yes, thanks.
Jessica Smith, Jordana, what can I do for you?
I have two questions. So the first one is, what if they don't have health insurance and they've paid for everything out of pocket and have a medical condition and never disclosed it?
So then that information will, okay, so let me take the first part. The first part is that information will not be in the Medical Information Bureau, but it will be in the other 14 ways we can get information.
Okay. And then
And
my second
some,
question is, sorry.
you had said if somebody has a medical condition, doesn't disclose it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if somebody has AIDS as an example and don't tell me, and I ask the question, it's an affirmative question. And if they lie, what ends up happening is, let's say everything else was good, so I'm going to submit it as standard. It goes through underwriting. Underwriting finds out that they have AIDS. They'll automatically decline the client and they'll let you know they've been declined for whatever reason. Okay. You
Okay.
will get hit with that declination and it will count against your quality score. However, remember I told you it has to be over 80, something like that. We know that there are people who are going to lie. There's just no way
Yeah.
around it. But as long as you do your due diligence to the best of your ability, every single time you prepare an application, you will typically be over 90% in terms of your quality score. Okay?
Okay. And my other question was, what if they do the same thing, but they just always go to another country? So if they have like a dual citizenship somewhere and they go to their country, have health insurance there or none, and take care of everything there and then come back here and say the same thing. Is that in one of our 14 ways to find out?
Not my understanding is that would not be easily for that. We would not be able to easily determine that.
Okay.
Because we're not pulling records from other countries, but I don't want to say that definitively because I don't know all the 14 different areas. I know there's 14, but again, if somebody's going through that trouble, they probably won't even tell you that they did it. I mean, you
Yeah.
may find out because you're friends or something like that, but if it's just an average applicant, they probably won't even let you know that that happened.
Okay, sure. Thank you.
Arabelle, what can I do for you?
Yeah, so my question is, the screen that you have pulled up, are they going to be able to see this when we type in their condition?
Well, if you display it on there, you can. That's why I believe in two screens and you move this one onto the screen they can't see. Because
Okay.
again, if I were to bring this up just like this, I'm going to get questions. Immediately they're going to say, well, what is a jejunal bypass? What does it mean when the weight is not normalized or rate up or decline? Maybe what does that mean? You see what I'm saying? They start to ask 9 million questions. So what I do is I take this thing, I move it off to the side. They don't see this. All they're seeing is the eApp application itself. Okay. Did that answer your question, everyone?
Yeah, it did. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. All right, everybody. So we're going to see more of this, but now let's start the process of actually writing an application. So I want everybody to do exactly what I do as I go through it. So then this way, if you run into a problem, I know what information I should expect to see on your screens, and then you can share your screen and let me know what's going on. Okay. So over here, I'm going to click on File, and I'm going to click on Presentation and Survey. This screen will come up. I want you to click on Start Presentation. When you click on Start Presentation, this screen comes up, and what we're going to do is we're going to put in a name here. And the first name is going to be John, and his last name is going to be Russo. Well, Italian guy. He is a male. His birth date is actually going to be January 1st of 1990. And if you'll notice, the description just takes his first and second name, or first and last name, and just puts it together. The agent number is defaulting to bogus because we've logged in as a training login. However, when you get your own logins, your agent number will pop up right here. So let me talk about agent numbers for a second. Your agent number will not stay with you forever. Your agent number, let me do this so you guys can see me. Your agent number starts off, right here, and it's tied to your upline all the way up to and past Mario Hyro, for those of you in AO International, and those of you in AO North past Brandon Somerton and Jesse Doherty. And the way that agent numbers work is at the moment that you submit an application and get credit for a sale, everybody in your line gets something from that. Not necessarily commission or bonus, but they get credit, they get different things. And we'll see that on Friday, how that works. So what that means is if I sell something today, let's say I get my 50% credit, I get paid my 75%, I'm happy. People above me will get something as well. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that I move from that upline into another upline. Any change in my status or the status of anybody above me requires a new agent number. And the reason for that is renewals. The reason for that is the way that you're compensated. So any change in your status or the people above you requires a change in your agent ID, because they'll lock in the agent ID that you have today and they'll pay you according to that. So if I sold a policy today as a new agent, renewals, let's just look at renewals only, you're going to get, I believe, 3% every year. A year from now, if I sell that same exact type of policy, I'm probably going to get 5% because I will have moved up. I will have gotten different things. That requires me to have a separate agent number, because this agent number says for these policies that were sold at this time, I'm getting 3% renewal. But for any policies that are sold at this time, I'm getting a 5% renewal. Right? And we want to make sure we track that so that we're paying you all out appropriately. Does that make sense to you, Rana?
Yes, it does.
Okay, so don't be surprised if your agent number changes immediately. I think I've had my agent number change 20 times because I've been bounced around in different hierarchies and just a bunch of different stuff. It's no reflection on you, but I'll tell you, it freaked me out the first time that I tried to see something that I sold and didn't realize my agent number had changed. Now, the reason you have to be aware of it is because sometimes mistakes are made and they forget to pay you out based on different agent numbers. So always, always, always work with your upline, track your agent number so that you can understand your reporting. Nicole Young, was your hand up? No?
It was. I took it down. I was trying to get to where you were, but it was the initial application package, but I'm in it now.
Okay, perfect. So let me go back and share that screen again. So your agent number here is going to say bogus 1-00. If you get promoted into leadership, you'll have two agent numbers. One will be a supervising number and the other one will be a producer number. The state here, this is what we call your drop-down list for states. Your initial drop-down will be the state that you're a resident of, and then in the future, anytime you obtain non-resident licenses, the drop-down will be available to you. There is a catch. I could get licensed in all 50 states if I'm in the US, or all the provinces if I'm in Canada. But if my upline, anybody in my upline does not have a license for that particular state, I will not be able to get the drop-down. So I could be licensed in Florida, but if my SA or my regional producer above me is not licensed in Florida, I can't sell in Florida. I can't write an application. This is important for all of you as you begin your careers. You want to make sure you get the list from your upline of, hey, what states can you write, can they write business in? And then in what order do you want to get that? Because they cost money. We'll see in the new agent packet, there's a list of all the states and what the associated costs are for non-resident licenses. You want to make sure you take in two factors. Number one, the expense of getting, well, three factors. The expense of getting it so that you can budget for it. Secondarily, you want to make sure that your upline has that license. And third, you want to make sure that what you do get balances how you want to work. As an example, I'm on the West Coast, so I got licenses in Virginia and Texas. I have a bunch, but from that perspective, I've had East Coast and I had Central Time and I had West Coast time. And I did that so that way I could get up at 5 a.m. if I wanted, or 6 a.m. and start making calls into Virginia and be within the rules. Or if I lived in Virginia and I wanted to work at 11 o'clock at night, just because I didn't want to work during the first part of the day. I want to go to the kids' recitals, or whatever the case may be. And I had leads in California. I could work past 9 o'clock on the west or on the East Coast side, because West Coast was 3 hours behind. So you want to take those factors into account when you're trying to determine what states you want to get drop downs for. At the end of the day, if you continue to move up in leadership, you're going to end up getting all 50 states if you're in California, and if you're in Canada, all the different provinces. Cherie, what can I do for you?
Hi, I have a question. So say for instance, if our immediate SA doesn't have a license in that state, but his upline does, am I still not able to write in the state that I have a license?
That's correct. Everyone in your upline has to have that license in order for you to get the drop down. You can get the license, you just can't write business until your entire upline has that license for that state. Okay?
Okay.
Romario, what can we do for you?
I just have a quick question. So I know we get a certain amount of leads, right? Like
Well,
weekly or daily?
once you're released, they will give you an initial lead pack. That is correct.
Right. So my question is, if you get licensed in other states as well, does that increase the amount of leads you get, or is it still the same amount? It's just going to be mixed around from different states?
Well, it increases the opportunity for you to get leads in general in the first place. So if you think about it, if I have 5,000 leads for my entire hierarchy, the number of leads that are available is 5,000, but the number available to you may only be 100 because you only have Utah.
Yeah.
But if you have all 50 states, then theoretically you're eligible for any of those 5,000 leads. So the more states you have, the more business that you'll write, and the more flexible your MGA can be in terms of assigning leads. But that's not even the biggest factor, Romario. The biggest factor is when you have one presentation and you get 8 referrals. Those referrals, particularly the veteran market, could be anywhere in the US.
Yeah.
If you don't have the license and your upline doesn't have the license for whatever state that the referral's in, then it's going to be difficult for you to sell, if not impossible, right? And there's different things that you can do, and we'll talk about that later. Does that make sense?
Yeah, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, Cherie, your hand is that up from before, or do you have another question? Because you're at the top of my list. Okay, LD, what can I do for you?
eApp is done, and it's asking me agency. I probably missed it. Maybe you said it.
Yeah, you need to hit the drop down and select AO.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and then use your training login to log in. All right, Arabelle, what can I do for you?
Yeah, so when you said stay within the rules, you're talking about from 9 to 9?
Well, it's a little hazy, right? And here's why. We are not telemarketers. So we don't get a list from somebody and just arbitrarily start calling, because they have certain laws and rules that they need to abide by, which is 9 in the morning till 9 at night. We theoretically don't fall in that, but we don't want complaints either. So we advise people, don't call before 9 in the morning, don't call after 9 at night.
Okay.
Now, if you can set up appointments, you can set up stuff where people are asking you. I've done appointments at midnight, right? If the client wants you to do it outside those hours, that's perfectly fine. They've requested. But for you to make the initial call to somebody, most of our markets require, most of our markets are where people have asked for us to provide them something. So theoretically, we are straddling the line about calling between 9 and 9. But in my opinion, if you just call after 9 a.m. and before 9 p.m., you're going to be fine. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Tommy Barrett, what can I do for you?
Hello, just to sum it up, in order for us to sell insurance in other states, we have to go ahead and take the test again for that state until we soon have all 50.
Oh God, no! Because if that was the case, I would never ever get any licenses, right?
All
Because
right,
it's
completely misunderstood that.
No, here's the beauty, right? For all of us, once you have your resident license, you can join something called NIPR. For those of you in the U.S. and those of you in Canada, it's CIPR. And what NIPR stands for the National Insurance Producers Registry. And then C is Canadian. You can join that. And what happens is you want to apply for your non-resident license for another state. Most states will allow you to get a license using business rules without having to submit a test or the hours of training that are required. They'll automatically issue it to you because what they're doing is they're relying on your resident state to ensure you meet the minimum qualifications. That's just for the licensing part. For fingerprinting, however, there are some states like Florida has an example. I think Utah is another one where and California definitely, they require a different set of fingerprints. So if I'm in California, if I want to get my Florida license, they'll give me the license as soon as when I go through NIPR, I pay the fee, I do all that. They'll issue the license after I submit fingerprints to them. Okay, so you do not have to take additional training and you do not have to sit for the test again. Does that help?
Yeah, so it's just fingerprints basically.
Well, there's business rules on NIPR and you have to say basically no to all the questions. Have you ever been this? Have you ever been that? They want to make sure that you meet the business rules requirements, and then they rely on your resident state to make sure that you've issued a license there. And in most states, it goes right through and you get your license, piece of cake. There are a few states like Florida and California that require their own set of fingerprints. So it just takes a little longer.
Thank you, Sam.
Yep. Romario, what can I do for you?
There's two questions. If you're already in California, does that mean already that you have the standard for Florida? Or is it still a different set?
No, the standards for all the state will be fine. It's just that certain states require their own set of fingerprints.
Okay. And then
So
my
California, as an example, California saying, hey, you had to submit fingerprints to us. Florida says, hey, that's great, but we still want your fingerprints on our own file.
Okay, got it. And then my last question is that if you do get it in different states, do you get a different agent ID for each one that you would have to remember?
No, your agent ID, the system, here's what happens. You get your initial license and they give you an agent ID, WX753. And then you get your license for Florida. You will get your license for Florida. You'll actually get the physical license. You'll send it in to your admin, who will then submit it through the chain. And the way this works is your admin submits it to AO. AO submits it to AIL. AIL receives it, and the only way they'll issue you your dropdown is they have to send correspondence to the state indicating that you are an agent of American Income Life. When that communication is sent, then and only then will they give you the dropdown.
Wow.
Okay. It doesn't take that long in most cases. The usual delay is the state itself.
Got it. Okay.
Pretty quickly. Arabelle, what can I do for you?
Thank you.
So when you give the example of Florida and you said that they require their own fingerprints, you'd have to go into Florida and
No, they have designated vendors that you would go to whatever state that you're in, and you would have to go there and provide your fingerprints, and then that business entity then has a contract with the state of Florida and they'll forward it there.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to go to Florida. That would really suck. Nicole Young, what can I do for you?
Just when you saying as some things come back to my mind, I have the homeowner's auto and all the type licenses that just recently, I didn't renew them. But would that be, if I wanted to renew those, be a conflict with the life insurance?
Are you asking me if any of your other licenses will be in conflict with your life license?
Yeah, just because I had them not thinking about renewing them, so I was just checking.
Well, I'm not sure what you mean by in conflict.
I can have both of them together.
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
So if you had a life license in the past and it lapsed, then obviously you need to renew it. The other thing to consider is that you can't, because American Income Life, you're almost like a captured agent in the sense that you
conflict of interest. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, you're not allowed to sell other insurance products for other insurance companies while you're working for American Income.
Okay, that was it. So basically, it's conflict of interest. So got it.
Yeah. Okay. Emily, what can we do for you? Emily?
Just to make sure, Being with the Duchenne hierarchy, Michigan's a good one to have, correct?
Is it a good, well, all the states are good to have. I mean, if my recommendation is you get all 50 states, absolutely. But
But I'm
they're
saying like
office.
Michigan's one for sure that everybody has.
Well, I personally don't know that the office started in Michigan. So all those guys started with their Michigan license. Okay. But they have people all over the United States, and some of those people don't have a Michigan license. Having a Michigan license, if you're in the Duchenne hierarchy, doesn't. I'm sorry. Anyway, having a Michigan license doesn't give you any advantage other than any leads that are coming from Michigan or any referrals that live in the state of Michigan you can then sell to. It's not any more advantageous than having a California license, if that makes sense, right? So you just have to talk to your upline, figure out what licenses they have, and they'll probably tell you in what order you should get them. Okay? Emily, I hope that answered your question. Ty, what can I do for you?
Is it possible if my upline does not have a license in a state that I do, that I could submit an application under a different line?
I don't understand. When you say submit an application under a different line, what do you mean?
Different upline.
No. You can't do that. The only thing that you could do is you would have somebody else write the application for you, because you won't even have the state in your dropdown. See the screen I have right here? If your upline doesn't have California, you will never have California available to you.
I see.
So what you would do in that case is you would talk to somebody and they would write the application under their agent ID. So let me give you an example, and it's a good time to talk about this. Some of you are going to do presentations on behalf of your upline, and they will give you credit for it. But you can't write the application yourself. You may not be in the state. You may not have eApp available to you. They'll write the application. So what ends up happening is they write it, they get all the credit for it, and they'll get the renewal when the renewals happen. You should negotiate how much of that deal should be given to you. As an example, I'll tell you what I did with my team. Anytime somebody came to me and say, hey, I've got a referral in the state of California, I'm only licensed in Nevada. I said, okay, not a problem. I'll be on the Zoom with you. You're going to give the presentation using your own HP Pro. You're going to get all the referrals. You're going to do everything. You're going to sell the client. If the client says, yes, I want to buy, I will process everything through my eApp. So that is completely legal. Okay. Another note on this: do not give your logins to eApp to other people. Never use anybody else's eApp login for any reason. Okay. That only causes heartache and problems, and you can lose your license. All right. So that aside, I would then write the application with the client and with the student or my team member on the Zoom. When that deal was done and I got paid on it, I would take 100% of whatever the student or my agent would have received on that deal, and I would Zelle them all the money. Now, why in the heck would I do that? Ty, why do you think I would do that?
Just a matter of fairness, but I wonder if it's legal if they're not licensed in that state.
Well, one, they can't write the policy, right? So someone else has to. But the reason I do it is I could take the money, or I could say, I'll give you 25% or 5% or whatever. I negotiate with you. The reason I give 100% is it doesn't matter to me. And when I say it doesn't matter to me, let's say it's you and I, Ty, that are doing this. It's more important to me that you get all the goodness of whatever you would have gotten if you were able to write the policy. And I know, because I've been in your shoes, right? I would feel much better, or I think you would feel much better if I gave you everything you would have earned, correct? All right. Now, what does it mean to me? Well, I get the revenue on my record. You do not. Number two, I probably get paid a little bit more off that deal than you would ever get paid, right? So even I give you everything you would have earned, I'm still making money on it. And what is the other thing that I get that you don't? The renewal. So every year this thing comes up, I get paid 5%. You don't get anything. So in my mind, the least I can do if you were on my team is I would give you whatever you would have earned, right? So 50% credit and 75% if that deal were to happen today. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Emily, your hand is still up. You have another question, or is that from before? Gone. Doug, what can we do
It
for
was
you,
from
Doug?
before, my bad.
No, no worries. Doug, what can we do for you?
Okay, I don't have anything in my drop-down list now.
That's correct, because you're logged in as a trainee, correct?
Okay, so I won't know. Well, okay, then let's say I'm doing my first client, real client.
The
And I
only
don't have,
state
if I don't
you will
have California, huh?
The only state that will be available to you will be your resident state.
Okay, regardless of whether my upline has that state or not.
Well, your original resident state, your upline has to have, otherwise you'll never get the agent number. You see what I'm saying? They
Oh,
have
is
to
that,
have the state you're in.
is that one of the criteria that I met to become one of for him to
No.
be my upline?
Well, let's reverse it. It's not your criteria, it's their criteria. In order for you to be on their team, they have to have the license in the state that you're a resident of. Otherwise,
Okay.
you wouldn't put on their team.
Otherwise, it wouldn't work out.
Correct. You'd have to be on someone else's team. But after that, then you have to worry about making sure that any licenses you want to get, that they have licenses for those states.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Perfect. Okay, Sonny Gallegos.
Yeah. Okay. So I just want to clarify. If I have a state, so if I have Pennsylvania, but the two uplines above me don't, and then Ashley does, I still can't sell, or I still can't do a policy.
That's correct, because you'll never have the drop down.
All three of them have to have it.
Everybody in the upline, all the way up to the top, have to have licenses. So if you get to Ashley, Ashley has all 50 states. You're
Right.
fine. You're worried about are the people below her.
Yeah. So like it would be Ashley, Aubrey, Sarah, me.
Yes.
So
and
if
Sarah and Aubrey are relatively new, Sarah's newer, so you just have to find out from Sarah, what states do you have? What states do you plan on getting? And that will tell you what states you can possibly go out and get.
Got you. Thank you.
Yep. Irene, what can we do for you?
So if you get all, let's say you get all 50 states, and your upline is just taking a minute to get theirs, when you go to renew your license, is it the same thing for all 50 states you have to renew?
Well, renewing your license has to do with the state insurance commissioner, nothing to do with AIL.
Okay.
Okay. And if it were me, I wouldn't spend the money to get my license until I know my upline has the license in the states. Otherwise, you're just spending money for what? Nothing. You
Nothing.
can't use it. Okay. All right. So we're here on the screen. What I want you to put in here is CA for the state of California. Okay. The sales mode defaults to training sale because we're logged in as trainees. The video language doesn't matter. You can still default as English. The lead group tracking number and the group name, we do not fill those out now. So leave those blank. And the last thing in the upper right hand corner, pardon me, is the family status. John is married with dependents. Now the next step is absolutely crucial. Do not click next. Do not click next. Because if you do, you're going to have issues. So do not click next. On this screen, and this screen only, we're going to go ahead and close it by clicking on the white X in the red box in the upper right-hand corner. When I close it, I have this empty screen. Now I want to get that back. I'm going to click on File, and now I'm going to go to the Application Package Wizard. When I do that, I'm going to search for this person's name, and lo and behold, he's right there, John Russo. And the way I know that, it says July 4th at 10:20 is when I had this thing open. So now I can click next with no problem. It's only that initial screen by clicking next I caused myself heartache. So now I'm going to click next. It's going to come up and I'm just going to check to make sure this is the right one. John, there's my agent ID, there's a state. Okay, I'm good. Now I can click next again and I get to this screen, which is the form selection. So at this screen, I need to actually include the form that I need. Now, John, with the birthday that I gave him, he's under the age of 60. So remember, from insurance perspective, anybody 60 or older is considered a senior. He is not. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to click on add. When I click on add, it's going to ask me which one do I want to add, the super combo or the senior life combo. That being the case, Tay, which one should I open?
Super
Ty,
combo.
yes, Ty, which one? I said Tay.
The
Ty,
super
which one?
combo.
The super combo. So I can double click it or single click and then do it. I'm going to double click and it will then add the super combo form right here. India, what can I do for you?
We're still following along with you, right?
I hope so.
Okay. So I didn't click next. You said don't click next. Then I went to the file, back to file, and then
Well,
when
did
I
you
went
close
in,
the screen?
yes, I closed the screen.
Okay. So then you come back up to file and you click on application package wizard.
Mm-hmm.
You should see Russo on the list there, and then you just double click to open that one up.
So that's where I'm getting confused because it's not showing the name we just did, or the John Russo
So
for
when
me.
I click on file application package wizard, you're saying
That's
that
all blank for me.
it's all blank. Okay, so what I want you to do, and this happens to people, right? Share your screen and we're going to go through it together. All right, so looking at your screen, so go ahead and you don't have it, that's correct. So click cancel and we're going to rebuild it. So click on file and presentation and survey combo. There you go. Click start presentation. And let's put his first name as John. His last name is Russo. He is a male. He was born on January 1st of 1990. And my guess is that the first time you did not select the state. So since you can't select the state as a trainee, you have to type in the initial. So type in C, capital A. And now we want to say married with dependents. Well, don't do that. Don't do that. And now go ahead and close it. Now go back and lo and behold, because
There
you have
it
the
is.
state in there, it shows up. So now you can just
All
double
right.
open it up. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. In the training mode, you have to do that. When you're actually in the field and have been released, you're just going to select the state that you're writing the application for. And you won't have this problem. Nicole Young, what can I do for you? Nicole Young.
I'm here. It's these different screens. I did something. I don't know what I did, but I can't get past any screen.
Can you share your screen with us?
Yeah.
Okay. Ba-bum-bum-bum. Ba-bum-bum-bum. Okay.
Can you see it there?
Yeah. So what you want to do here is in the upper right-hand corner. You're not. Whoa. What happened?
Sorry. I don't know. With this right here, where is this? I just need to close that. Okay.
In the upper right-hand corner, you're not able to click on the X for that
No.
dialog screen?
No.
Okay, so take your cursor and click on cancel down at the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, I won't do that either.
Okay, so there's another dialog that's open. That's the problem. Do you see down at the very bottom of eApp, you have like a white stripe? It looks like that's a screen.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you have a problem. Okay. So at some point you click next and you weren't supposed to, because wait. That screen right there should never come up. That screen only comes up when you click next. All right, so here's what I want you to do. I want you to close that. Can you close it? And delete the current sale. And now you're going to have to click on play video. And then you're going to close that video. Okay, and see, you're going to hit, just close that, click the upper right-hand corner, click continue. And now it's going to ask you for this information. So what you need to do is put in bogus information, fill out everything, and then put computer error. You see what happens? Because you click next when you weren't supposed to, and that's why you have to go through all of this. It's a pain.
Okay.
So you need to
Said
put in
bogus,
bogus information for phone number, address, city, email
got it.
address.
Okay.
But it has to be in the right format. So that's not an actual number.
Okay.
Okay. And for all of us, if you do this, even if you're in the field and you do this, you're going to have to go through this as well. This is what happens when you, for whatever reason, if you click
Not letting me put in 2, 3, 4. Okay.
That's fine. Just put in a zip code and an email address that's bogus. So the city is not 78109. The city is Portsmouth.
Yep.
Well,
Portsmouth.
no, that's where you type Portsmouth. That's the city. The name,
I'm on the wrong spot. Got it. It's under instead of over.
Yeah. I forget who asked, but you pick the super combo for anybody under the age of 60, and you pick the senior life for anybody who's 60 or older. Insurance companies define seniors as 60 or older. Okay. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm just trying to fix that. Whereas city is right here.
Yeah, and just delete. Yeah, just delete that, and then put in a zip code of any kind, and then put in computer error, and just say delete application package. See, the phone number needs to be 7 digits, so it's not seen.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Put in your phone number and just make it off by 1 digit. And now do that. You got to delete the application package. Now put in that code. And then click OK. And say OK. And then say finish. And now start over, but this time don't hit the next button and you won't have to go through that again, okay? Yes. All right, you can stop sharing. Awesome.
Where are you at? Come up.
What's that?
No, I'm sorry. I need to go back to mute, and then I'm trying to get my get the things to populate.
Well, you can stop sharing too. There you go. Perfect. Okay, let me look at the chart real quick. Did I miss anything? Do we ever choose senior life? Like, is that for 65? Oh, Brianne, so you heard what I said. If they're 60 or older, correct? Brianne Grasso, are you there? Brianne. Oh, your mic doesn't work. Okay, gotcha. All right, Tommy, what can I do for you?
Hello. So yes, I messed up and I pressed next, and I was following along with what information she was putting in. And then on mine, when I clicked finish, it just put training mode. This mode is for training only, and it's a blank screen. Do I have to click something else to get back to where I was?
I don't know where you're at. You have to share your screen. This is why you don't click next, Tommy.
I know.
Yeah, you're going to start over. So just click on file and presentation and survey combo and just start all over. Just don't click next this time.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, no worries. All right, so let me share my screen here. So I'm going to bring it back up. So I'm going to click on file, application package wizard. I look for John Russo. There he is. I click that. I get to the next screen. I've added the super combo. So now what we're going to do is we're going to double click on the super combo, and lo and behold, when I do, this is the actual application that needs to be filled out. In the upper right hand corner, you have affiliation name. That's going to be the name of the association. So if you're in the veteran market, you would type in the word veteran. If you're in the credit union market, you would type in the name of the credit union association. So in the credit union script, we talk about the Spokane City Credit Union. So here I would type in Spokane City, right? And it would look like that. If I was going to do the veteran market, then I would just type in veteran right here. If I have a referral, so I've talked to a client, they sponsored 7 people. I call one of those 7 people. They do want to buy a policy. Then I would click referral. That's really important because referrals you get credit for above and beyond commissions and bonuses. You also get 1 point for every dollar of referral sales that you generate. And the reason for that is that the company wants to give you recognition for the fact that you're building more or you're increasing our revenue without having them to spend money on marketing. So they give you $1 for every, or a point rather, for every dollar of referral sales you create. The only way they track that is you have to click on referral. Now, if you do click on referral, what they'll do is they'll check to see if the people that you list on this application are in the leads database anywhere at all. If they are in the leads database, you don't get credit because they generated the lead. If they're not in the leads database, then in fact, you do get credit and you belong to something called AO Rewards, which we'll go through on Thursday, where you can sign up, and that's where you will get all these points, and you can spend the points on flights, cruises, hotel accommodations, clothes, Prada, Gucci, all kinds of different stuff. It's another way that we provide an incentive to help us grow our business. Romario, what can I do for you?
Okay, just a quick question, but
Romario, every time I say what can I do for you, don't tell me that it's just a quick question because you say it every time. You don't have to. I'm assuming it's a question you're going to ask. Go ahead.
okay, sorry. Okay, so once we save the veterans, right, when we ask them and we put them down and we save it, doesn't it go to our lead pack?
I'm sorry, you're going to have to say that again.
Okay, so when we ask them like for who you do want veterans that can be depended on during this time, and they list us the people, and then we save that, doesn't it go to our lead pack? So wouldn't them?
Yeah, it goes in your lead pack, but right now HP Pro is not tied to eApp whatsoever. So there's no way that this system knows that that was a referral lead of yours.
Okay, I'm talking about because you said it would search the lead database, and then they would know if it was a referral or not.
Oh, okay. You're asking a different question. What happens there is it searches the entire lead database, not just yours, but everybody's. And what it's looking for is to see if that person's name and social security number already is in the lead system as a corporate generated lead where they paid money to get that lead. If
Okay,
it's not in there, if it doesn't match, then you get the credit for the referral sale.
got it. Okay, thank you.
Cherie, what can I do for you?
Yes, I'm so sorry. I was having some technical refreshing problem. I missed where you said that if it's a lead that you generated, how would you, can you go back and what would you put in there if it was a lead that you generated yourself?
Okay, so if it's a referral that you created, up here, you're going to click on REF because that's referral. If it is not a referral that you created, then it's an affiliation through one of our associations. You're going to put in, if it's a veteran, you'll type in veteran, and then right here, you'll type in veteran as well. Okay.
Okay, so I'm just checking off referral.
Yeah, you're checking referral, and then you don't have to have this filled in right here. Okay.
Okay, that's what I missed. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. Okay, so now the next thing is, what do we do with our name or their name? All right, so we've got this part done up here. We have to put in veteran. We have to put in whatever the association is. If you work in a different market like credit union, you would put CU for credit union. If you work in the union market, you would put UN. Okay, and your upline will tell you if you're working in a different market, the other things you have to do. Okay, if you're in the no cost legal will kit, you would type in no cost legal and then you would be fine. Unless it's a referral, then you would click on REF. So what was the name of this person? Their name is Russo. So I'm going to type in Russo, comma, and it's John. There is no space, and it's always last name first. If you make a mistake and put first name last, when the system sends out policy information or anything like that to the client, they'll have the name transposed. So you always need to put Russo, comma, John with no space, and then you're going to hit tab. When you hit tab, you'll see that everything now shows up in blue. Not everything, but most things start showing up in blue. The first thing you have to do is say, I saw this client, because you're attesting to the fact that you actually met with the client. Next thing you do is put in the birth date. So we know it's 01-01-1990. Needs to be in that format, right? 2 digits, 4 digits. When I hit tab, the system will automatically calculate the age. If that is 60 or older, then you're using the wrong application. You need to use the Senior Life Combo. Next thing is the birthplace. Even though that's not in blue, it still needs to be filled out. Hit the down arrow. And the way this works is it shows all 50 states in the US first. And then when you get down to Wyoming, it then shows you all the provinces and I believe territories, I'm not sure, but in Canada, all the way down to the Yukon territory. Oh yeah, I was right, provinces and territories. And then it shows you New Zealand, because those are the 3 countries we work in, the US, Canada, and New Zealand. After that, every other country in the world is listed alphabetically. It doesn't matter where somebody was born in terms of how we determine their rates. It matters for statistical analysis. We use a lot of data, it creates the actuary tables. That's part of the thing that we look at. So in this particular case, scroll back up to the top and say he was from California. His height and weight is 6'3". So hit 6, hit tab, hit 3, tab it out, and then you can go to the weight. His weight is 226 pounds. So let me ask you, India, what is he within the height and weight standards?
I believe so, yes. I would have to look at the table again.
You need to look at the table again then. So let's say he's 6 foot, but he weighs 276 pounds. Is he within the height and weight standards?
We said he was 6,
He's
you said 6 foot or 6'3"?
He's 6'3" and he weighs 276 pounds. Is he within the height and weight standards?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Yes, he is. So then you would tab this out and then that would be done. Arabelle, what can I do for you?
Yeah, so when I try to type in his age, it doesn't let me, never mind. I figured it out.
Yeah, the age is automatically calculated. You have to put in the birthday. So then we come over here and notice right here it says sex. This is really important because a lot of new agents forget to add the sex. And the reason why is because it's grayed out. It's not blue. However, the system can't load rates until you let it know if they're a tobacco user or not, what their age is and what their sex is. Kind of makes sense, right? We have to know that. So the sex here is the sex that was assigned at birth. We don't make any judgments, and it doesn't matter to us what you identify as. What matters is what you were identified at birth, because all the actuary tables are predicated on that concept. So, and I have had people who tell me, well, I'm this now. Like, hey, that's perfectly fine. I understand exactly where you're coming from, but I need to put in here what you were assigned at birth. Okay, so in this case, he's going to be a male. I'm going to fill that in. He is a non-tobacco user. So in HP Pro, when you fill it out, you have TU. So you're saying whether they are a tobacco user. Here, we have to affirmatively say whether or not they're a non-tobacco user. So I'm going to say non-tobacco user. We're going to skip 2 and 3, and we're going to go down to 4. Here's the person who actually owns the policy, who's responsible for the payments. Typically, it's going to be proposed insured A. However, there are going to be times where you're going to select other, and you have to give the last name, first name, their social security number, and the relationship. Tommy Barrett, when would I ever have to select other for the owner of the policy?
Other for the what policy? I'm sorry.
I said, when would I ever have to select other for the owner of the policy?
When it's not for the actual veteran, it's for the spouse.
Well, am I selling to the spouse and the veteran?
Yes.
Then I
Would
can
it
put the
would it be
veteran
when it was under? Sorry.
Sure, anybody, because I don't know who's talking. I can't see you guys right now. So whoever that was, go ahead.
Is it whenever a company buys a policy for a key employee?
Well, that's a little bit different, and we don't sell those types of policies. But yeah, the company would be the owner, and you'd have to have the company's license or their entity number. So you're heading down the right track. What you would find is if a grandparent was going to buy a policy for their grandchild, okay, and they're not necessarily the proposed insured A, they wouldn't be a peer. It would just be the child. So then you'd have to click here and you'd have to put their name, social security number, and relationship. Speaking of which, Angel Garcia, if you had children, could I buy an insurance policy on them?
You're buying an insurance policy for my child?
Yes.
I know people buy insurance policies for their children, obviously. I don't know if you can for my child.
Well,
I
why
don't know if
not?
that's legal.
Why can't I buy it for your child?
Well, it would depend on your relationship, wouldn't it, with me? You'd have to have permission.
Okay, so you're close. You're heading down the right path. It is called what? Does anybody know what the legal term is called?
Insurable interest?
Exactly. I would have to have insurable interest, Angel. So I don't know you, so I don't have insurable interest on your kids. If we got married, then I could do that. Or if I adopted the kids, I can do that. Or my own kids. Now, somebody had said something about key man insurance or when a company's buying insurance for their executives. That's a little bit of a different play. We don't do that here, but yes, if I own a company and I wanted to have the company take out insurance on me because if I died, then the company could potentially not do very well, and they want to hedge against that, that would be called key man insurance. So there's things that you can do, but in our realm, typically what we will always do is do a proposed insured A. And what that's saying is that the owner of the policy would be the person I put up here. Okay. Emily Pressler, what can I do for you?
I have a question with the like longtime foster families and stuff like that. How would they go about insurance when, say, they've had the kids for 5+ years, but the kids are going to age out of the system, so they didn't get custody, and they're still under a state basis, but they're trying to give them insurance?
Well, I'd have to demonstrate insurable interest. And if I am only a foster parent and the child dies, then the state is on the hook to pay for any of the funeral following expenses. So I don't have insurable interest in that case. Now, if I adopt a child, then yeah, I have insurable interest.
So you wouldn't have insurable interest even if they have been in your custody for multiple years?
Well, when you say in your custody, if you're saying straight up foster parent, a foster parent only has certain legal requirements and legal authority over that child. The state still has the ultimate legal custody of that child. Does that make sense?
Yeah, what I'm trying to get at is if that child, the reason the foster parents did not adopt is because they're getting ready to age out of the system. They didn't want to go through the legal processes, but they've had that child for, 5+ years. And when that child goes to age out of the system, they wanted to give them some kind of insurance because they don't have anybody else. You see what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. They have to have insurable interest in the child. The fact they decided not to adopt because they're going to age out, then that would preclude them from having certain legal rights.
Okay.
The child is still in custody of the state, not of the foster parents, if that makes sense. As an example, a foster parent can't sign a contract on behalf of a foster child. They'd have to get permission from the state because the state is still the custodial entity for that child. Are you with me?
Can I ask a follow-up question though?
Well, I want to make sure Emily is solid. Do you
Yeah,
understand
yeah.
what-
No. I totally understand. I was trying to see what the legal steps would have to be of that nature. But as I
Right.
understand, they would have to proceed with the adoption before they could get the.
Well, I would also say they have to check with the laws of the state because some states may have more lenient laws than others. I don't know every single law, but in
Okay.
general, you have to have insurable interest in the child, and insurable interest for all of you that has passed your test for your state exam. It's very clear on what insurable interest is. Okay. Ty, what can I do for you?
So what is the legal age for someone to own a policy? Because in that case, technically, I guess those foster parents could make the child the owner, but they would be the payer of the policy?
No, it's somebody under the age of 18 can't be the owner of a policy. You have to be 18 or older because you're signing a contract.
Right, so in that case, then they could just wait until the kid ages out and they could make the kid the owner of the policy and they could be the payer.
Yes, they can definitely do that.
And I don't see anywhere in this form that would indicate a different payer than the owner.
Well, the owner of the policy would be the person who's going to pay for it, but the policy can be on the child. So in your example, if the child turns 18, the child is signing a contract indicating they know insurance is being taken out on them. The foster parents no longer have insurable interest in the adult, so it's actually owned by the child. But the payor doesn't have to be the owner. The payer can be anybody who wants to pay the bill. The owner is going to be the person who's over the age of 18. Does that make
So
sense?
when you put in the bank information, it doesn't have to match the
Nope,
policy.
not at all. Not at all. The thing about when you put in the banking information is it can't be you as the agent, can't be your banking information whatsoever. That's the key there. Okay. Sonny Gallegos, what can I do for you?
Just quickly, can you tell me why would we click other again? I forget. I didn't hear it.
Just went through the whole thing.
No, I know, but just I mean.
So you would click this other if, for example, you didn't have a name up here, you were only doing a head start on a child and you weren't providing any coverage to the parents. So you wouldn't put the parents up here, they would go here and you would say parent and you would have to get their social security number.
Got it.
I did that a lot when I sold to a family and then they had another child. So they wanted to get a head start on that child. That's exactly when I would do it. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Emily, is your hand up from before or do you have another question? No answer. Okay.
It's from before, my bad.
All right.
Sorry,
No
I'm
worries.
driving.
No, I'm sorry. No worries. So we've done this. We're skipping 2 and we're skipping 3. Okay. And I will tell you why when we get to the end, but we're not doing that yet. Now we are going to say the proposed insurer is going to be A. The occupation in this case, you have 4 choices, but you can type in anything that you want. I'm going to type in sales. If you select disabled, that means that that person has been determined by the state or by the federal government as being disabled. You're going to have problems because we typically don't write policies on people who are disabled. They don't qualify for whatever reason. So if they're retired and they're under the age of 60, underwriting is going to take a double look at it. So a lot of times in the veteran market, you can have people retire when they're 38. You can have people retire from the military when they're 24 because of injuries that have been incurred in the line of duty. But you don't necessarily want to say that here. You want to put in whatever their job is now. So I'm going to type in sales. I'm going to say the employer is Dell. Okay. Now, the next one is 7. That's going to be the address of the policy. So I'm just going to put 438 Pocatello Drive. I don't care what information you put in for the address. That's entirely up to you. San Jose. You just got to put California in the zip code 95111. Next thing is 8. So I always want to put in 2 phone numbers. However, the first phone number I put in here is the number that's going to be associated with any of the policies that are generated from this application. And the reason that's important is in the future, if I want to look up policies for anybody I sold, I want to make sure that the phone number that I look it up with is the phone number associated with the policies. Otherwise, I'm going to tear my hair out trying to figure out who's who and where they're at. So I will always talk to a couple and I'll say, okay, I'm going to put in the phone number. Who's the person that is easiest for me to get a hold of if I have any questions? And the husband and wife will say one of them. I'm like, cool. It's a cell number. I'm going to put that in. I'm going to type it in here. In this case, I'm just going to put a bunch of 5s. And then I'm going to go to the next one and I'm going to get the other spouse's phone numbers. Okay. I'm going to put that in. And it's very important that you do that because you may need to reach them. And you may not have their number, but you can look up their policy and get their secondary number to try to call them. Okay. Once I have 8 filled out, then I go to 9. That's going to be the email address. I'm going to ask them, hey, what's your email address? Now, quite frankly, I already know their email address because I did HP Pro. I had to put it in there if we remember. So I'm just going to move the email address and put it right here. Then in 10, I need to put in the primary and the contingent beneficiary. So if I'm here, John is married to Mary. So I'm going to put Mary Russo as the primary. In the event that John dies in any way, shape, or form, Mary's going to get paid out. I would put the relationship here. So I could put wife or spouse. I can type it in or I can select it. Now I come to contingent beneficiary. Contingent beneficiary gets paid out in the event that the primary is unable to accept the money. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're dead. They might be in prison. So I need to pick a contingent beneficiary. I'll learn how to speak English. Just give me time. In this event, John and Mary have one child. That child's name is Mark. Mark is 8 years old. Here's the $1 million question. Ty, do I put Mark right here as the contingent beneficiary?
Yes.
Yeah, I can definitely do that, but let me give you an example, and I'll get your question just a second, Ty. I could do that, but I want you all to think about this for a minute. If John and Mary die in a car accident, if we've done our job in HP Pro, there's somebody's going to get a lot of money, right? And we know the contingent beneficiary is going to be Mark. When does Mark get the money, Sonny?
Don't they have to file the death claim with the insurance?
Well, he's 8 years old. Do you expect him to file?
Yeah. Sorry. He would get it when he's 18, or if they had said otherwise at a different time, right?
No.
Okay.
That is not accurate. Here's the key for everybody to understand. Whoever the contingent beneficiary is will get the money once they sign the indemnification. Following me? Once they sign the indemnification. So Mark's 8 years old. When is he going to be able to sign the indemnification? Sonny?
At 16? Or no, he has to be 21.
He has to be 18. You can sign a contract at 18 years old. That's when you're legally considered an adult.
Got it.
Okay. So following my line of reasoning, Mark's not going to get the money anytime soon. So here's what I do when I sit down with clients. Let me turn this off for just a second. When I sit down with a client, if they tell me their son or their family or I'm sorry, their kids, and they want to distribute equally, whatever they tell me, I already know how old those kids are because I went through HP Pro and I asked the questions, right? If in the veteran market I filled out the survey, I already know all the kids. I know how old they are. So Angel, I'm going to do it with you because I was trying to get insurance on your kids, but that didn't work out. So now we're going to do this one, okay? So Angel, you tell me that you want your kids to get it, and I start walking through conceptually with you, and I say, okay, Angel, I have no problem with that. That's great. Do you have all the legal documents set up for those people that you want to have custody of your children? Do you have that done already?
Yes, I have full documentation.
Okay, awesome. So here's what happens when we put the kids down. Your people that are going to take custody will in fact have to petition the court to prove that they should get custody of the children based on whatever documents that you set up. Until they are able to do that and the court signs off on that, the insurance company will not issue the check.
So it'll get tied up in court.
Yeah, well, I have documentation. I have to go to court and file it that in fact you've died and now I'm getting custody of Mark, right? So now that I get custody, so that takes time. It's never fast. Think about it. At what point, Angel, and let's say I'm the one getting custody, what point do I need the money from the insurance?
Well, I mean, the insurance is supposed to be paying for any issues that come up with like burial, those kind of things. So
No,
you
no, no,
want
no, no,
money
no.
immediately.
I'm not asking about the insurance company. I'm saying me as the custodian of your child. When do I need the money that to take care of that child?
When I'm in custody of the child, once they are under my care.
No, you need the money immediately. So
Mm.
I want you to think about the logic, right? So again, you're the parent, you have an 8-year-old named Mark, you die. You want me as the custodian to start taking care of Mark immediately, right?
Right.
So whatever money above and beyond whatever the funeral following expenses are, you want me to use to help raise Mark, pay for the future, right? I need that money theoretically immediately. In
Yeah.
my example, how long do you think it takes for me to file with the court all the custodial paperwork?
Not immediately.
It's not immediately, right?
No.
Definitely not immediately. So that
No.
means now somebody's got to pay for your funeral following expenses because guess what? As much as I love funeral homes and whatnot, they want to get paid, right? So one of your family members is going to have to pay for that, either take a loan out, pay the money out of cash, and they're not going to get reimbursed from the check that's coming from the insurance company until somebody signs that indemnification. And follow the logic with me. If I'm the one that's going to be the custody of your kids, I'm going to sign on behalf of Mark. Tracking with me so far? I don't have to use the money for your funeral. I don't have to use the money for anything that I don't want to. I am the one getting that money on behalf of Mark, and I have custody. Is that making sense now?
Yeah, Mark's only 8, so he
Mark's
has no
only 8,
burden at
so
all.
I'm getting $100,000, and I don't need to spend that money on anything. I can spend it on whatever I want because I have the legal authority to do that. Okay, so that was in our situation. Angel, most people that I talk to, most people that any of you will talk to, they will tell you, "Oh yeah, I want Sam to take care of my kids." And your next question is, "Okay, do you have the paperwork in place?" "Oh, no, I do not." So now it's a worse problem because here's what happens. I don't know if any of you know this, but if both parents die, what happens to the child? And there's no paperwork whatsoever. What happens to the child? They become a ward of the state. And the first thing the state is going to do is try to place them with a family member, right? But the family member does not have custody of that child. Ergo, they can't sign on behalf of that child. So that means that the insurance company, what do they do with the money?
They'll put it in an estate.
Invest
Do
it,
they?
invest it, make more money off of it.
Well, the insurance company, well, so it's a jaded way of looking at it, Romero, but that's in fact what happens. The insurance company is not paying the money out to anything. Why is that? Because somebody has to sign the indemnification clause. Even if they wanted to pay it out to the estate, somebody has to be in charge of the estate to sign for it. Does that make sense? Which means the insurance company does not want to increase our risk or our exposure. So we're just going to hold the money until somebody gives us a nice little document that says, "Hey, you've paid us in full." So again, the money that's going to be used to take care of Mark or pay for funeral fund expenses is not going to be paid out. So we're going to bring this all the way back around, and then Ty, I promise I'll be right with you. To bring it full circle, when somebody says to me, "I want my contingent beneficiary to be my kids," the first thing I'm going to ask is, "How old are they?" Or I already know because of HB Pro, and I'm going to walk them through this logic. And I'm going to point out to them, "Hey, I know you want to leave the $100,000 for Mark. I totally understand that. But you do understand that Mark will not get that $100,000 for quite a while." "Oh my gosh, what do you mean?" I explain it to them. And then I say, "Well, who do you want to have custody of your kids?" And they say, "Oh, you know what? I want Jill, my sister, to have custody." I'm like, "Hey, that's not a problem. Let's put Jill's full name in here. And oh, by the way, what's Jill's contact information?" Why do I want that? Because I now have another referral Okay. Or they already gave me the referral when I was going through HP Pro, but now instead of giving away benefits that they've allowed them to roll into, I have a much more powerful reason why I need to talk to Jill, don't I? A
Yeah.
huge reason. I need to explain to her how she's going to submit a claim. I need to then talk to her about her own life insurance because she's now going to be responsible for Mark. And if anything happens to her, who, you know what I mean? I start this chain. And this is what we do when we're a good insurance agent. We're looking out for the best interest of these families. And the only way we do that is understand pretty detailed how it works. Whew. Okay, so I'll get off that little diatribe. Ty, what's your question? Thank you for being so patient.
Is the contingent beneficiary required?
Yeah, no, it's not required. You don't have to fill it out. But if the primary beneficiary dies, guess what happens? The insurance company pays out.
sleep long.
The insurance company doesn't pay out anybody.
Right.
Remember,
Okay.
we only pay out what's under contract. So if both the primary and contingent beneficiaries die, we keep the money.
I
We're
have
not
more
going to pay it out
questions.
to someone else. I'm sorry?
I have more questions. So
Okay.
if they, for example, set 50-50 for each child, let's say the children are adults, one of the children dies, does the insurance company pays 100% to the other child or just the
No,
50%?
it would be paid out to the estate, and somebody on the estate of that other child would then have to indemnify the insurance company. We're not going to arbitrarily pick and choose winners. We're only going to pay out what the contracts tell us to pay out.
Okay, so if the child dies, then and there's only one survivor beneficiary. I don't
Yeah,
understand.
but in the
go in and
contract,
change
it says we're paying 50% out to each one. Then in that case, I could pay out the 50% to the estate. But then that child has to have the estate paperwork set up properly to accept payment.
Okay, and then my last question is, do you ever discuss setting up a trust?
Sure. I discuss it, but I don't provide any guidance or recommendations whatsoever.
Right, and in that case, if they did set up a trust, then
The trust would be the beneficiary.
right,
because
and
it's
in your
a legal
example, all they would have to do is make the sister the executor of the trust, right? The trustee, I guess.
I don't know if my camera.
And then Mark could be the beneficiary, correct?
Well, no, the contingent beneficiary would be the trust. And then what would happen is the trustee would have to provide documentation to the insurance company that they're authorized to sign on behalf of the trust to receive the funds.
Right, exactly. So the trust would be the beneficiary.
Right, so
The
Mark
sister
wouldn't
would be the trustee of the trust.
Well,
And-
however they want to set it up is entirely up to them. But what you're alluding to is the fact that you create a trust. So if I'm married, I have kids, I'm going to create a living trust. If I die, whoever manages that trust would be the one that would submit the claim to the insurance company along with documentation that they can sign on behalf of the trust.
And isn't that like a much better option than having guardianship papers and whatnot?
Yeah, but yeah, I would totally agree. Absolutely. But how many people well, don't show hands because I have questions. I guarantee you there's very few people in this class that have a trust set up and have kids. It is not something that people commonly do. It costs money. You have to understand what you're doing. And it's not always the priority to spend money on that when you're trying to put food on the table and keep the lights on.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, and keep in mind that most of the people that we're selling to are not people who are, making $200,000 a year. They're just not. Okay. Good questions. Brianne, what can I do for you? Brianne. Holy
It's okay.
mackerel.
Normally people call me Bree, but we have too many Brees in this class, so I didn't do that. But my first question actually was the same as Ty's about the trust. My second question is, so on these applications, we cannot put like multiple beneficiaries, right? Like let's say we have a client who has 2 kids and the 2 kids don't get along, right? So they don't want to give all the 100% of the money to Joe because Joe's probably not going to give John a dime, right? Like there's no way to put like, oh, this person gets 50% and this person gets 50%.
Yeah, no, you can do that. Let me share my screen. What you would do is you would type right here and say see notes, and then you would go to page 2, and then you would have remarks or instructions, and in there you can say both kids or all kids get proceeds evenly or something along those lines.
And then you would list their names under the remarks.
Yeah,
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
yep, I've done that plenty of times and it's gone through. Cherie, what can I do for you?
I had a question. Yes, as far as the legal will, let's say for instance, you didn't put the beneficiary and the contingent, but you did specify that in your legal will. How much power does the legal will have over the insurance policy?
The insurance policy is the guiding contract between the person who applied for the coverage and owned it, as well as the insurance company. So we're going to pay out whoever's listed here. Now, keep in mind that you, as the owner, can change the beneficiary anytime you want. So if I get a will next month, and however I set up the will, I can change my beneficiary to match that.
Okay, so the insurance company is not really going by the will. They're going by what you listed on your policy.
That's correct.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clarify. Okay.
All right, LaMary, what can I do for you?
So we had a presentation that we were watching yesterday, and the guy pretty much didn't have, any family. So in the case that, let's say, John, his kid's 8 years old, he left the money to him, he dies. He doesn't have any sisters or brothers or anyone. And then the kid's 8 years old, what happens to the money at that point? So it goes to the estate, or does the insurance company pay
It
that?
doesn't go, the money is held by the insurance company until someone can sign the indemnification.
Yeah, but who would that be if there's no family?
It would be the child when he turns 18.
Okay. So he would just have to wait until he's 18 and then he can go in. Okay.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I mean, the state can't sign on behalf in that situation because they have no way to take the money in and then spend it only on the kid, right? The state is all budget oriented from taxes. So that money's just going to sit there. We'll know that we have to pay it out, but we're not paying it out until 10 years later. And of course, we're going to take that money, invest it, as Romario was saying, and make more money off of it. Jessica and Jordana, the COVID twins, what can I do for you?
So when you said we could put something in the notes, like one child gets 50, the other child gets 50, would we be able to put in the notes, for example, John and Susie each get 50 unless one of the siblings were to pass away, then that one sibling would get the 100%?
Well, sure, you could try to write that in there, but here, if a client wants to do that, then I would tell a client to get a will or build a trust or create a trust and then have the trust be the one that directs the proceeds. Because the insurance company doesn't want to make it complicated. They don't want to try to do the nuances of who's going to get paid out what. They just want it very clear. 25,000, where's it going? Boom, done and dusted, move on to the next thing.
Okay.
Does that make sense? So I would never advise a client to put detailed instructions in the remarks. I would just say, hey, you have 3 kids, you want them all to get equally, go with that. If they're over the age of 18. If they're under the age of 18, I would say, who would you want to have custody of your children in the event of your death? Oh, I want it to be Jill. Then Jill is the person that we should name, so that way she can sign immediately for the money, your funeral could be paid for, and the kids can be taken care of. Does that make sense?
All right. Yep.
LD, what can I do for you?
So then what if the person does have a trust? Will the money go to the trust and sit there until he's 18, or will it still stay in the insurance company?
No, okay, so if you have a trust and you name the trust as the beneficiary, then whoever the trustee is can sign the indemnification, and the money will then be sent as a check or
To them.
otherwise to the trust. It is not up to the insurance company what happens to the money after that. It's up to the way the trust was set up.
So it goes to the trust, and whoever's in charge of the trust will be handling the money.
Well, I mean, it's a little more nuanced than that. It's however the trust was established with the funds that are either provided to it or started off with it. The trustee has the responsibility to act legally within that. We don't get involved in any of that. We're just going to send the money to the trust. If
So the
I'm
best-
advising a client, I'm going to tell a client, set your trust up, work with an attorney, so that way any money that comes in from the proceeds of the life insurance policy will then get distributed in accordance with the trust guidelines.
Right, so that's why it could be distributed at certain times. Let's say when he's 10, he gets this much. When he's 20 and 15, he gets this much, or the trustee. Yeah, okay, great.
Right, but we don't get involved in that. We only have one-time payment to the trust.
Pay it out, right? But the trust is the best option. Then
Well, the trust is the best option for a number of different issues, including transferring wealth. Otherwise, you're going to get taxed through the roof. Okay.
Yep.
So we're going to put in here, we're going to go Samuel Sweet. I'm just going to say I'm the one that you should get the money. That's just the way it's going to be. And I'm going to say I'm a friend. Okay. After we've gone through all that, hey, I'm getting the money, just so you guys know. Now, the next one is 11. Is the insurance intended to replace or change any insurance or annuities in this or any other company? The answer 100% of the time is no, because we don't replace anything. We only complement stuff. If you already have insurance policies, we're like, hey, that's great. You understand the value of insurance. What we're going to provide is a complement to that. We never replace anything. There are insurance companies that will replace existing policies, and they market, how they market that way is aggressive. Nothing wrong with it. It's a business. It's not a business that we're in. So that being the case, you will always, always say no. And then that means if the answer is no, 12 is always blank, because you never have to list any of the insurance policies because you're not replacing anything. Now, if somebody buys an insurance policy from you and then after the fact wants to cancel one of the ones they have with another company, that's on them. We never advise to do that. As a matter of fact, I want all of you to speak highly complimentary of any other insurance that any client has, regardless of where they bought it from. Okay?
Even
Never.
Transamerica?
Now, you got to raise your hand. Is this Ty? Ty, what is it with you? And just blurt
Sorry.
it out. All right, Ty, go ahead, but come on, raise your hand next time. Okay?
No, I'm sorry. I was just like Transamerica is a scam. It's a pyramid scheme. But okay. Other than that, I get it.
So you and I have a different perspective on Transamerica. I look at it a different way. Would I want to work there? Probably not. But they do pay out their insurance policies, but how they get their clients is not something that I like to do. But I would never say that Transamerica is not a good insurance company, because they are. They pay out on their policies. Okay?
I could tell you some stories.
I understand there's a lot of stories in terms of how they sell, what they sell, who they sell to.
No. The policies themselves, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, well, just do me a favor. Don't denigrate any other insurance company, because at the end of the day, it's like denigrating your prior boss when you're interviewing for a new job. If I'm interviewing you and you tell me horror stories about your previous boss, I am going to think that you are going to say the same thing about me in about 6 months, right? We just don't want to denigrate something when we don't need to. But I am aware of and know of some of the issues that they have. Okay, so we have blank in 12. We have no in 11. 13, is the proposed a U.S. citizen? You're going to ask the question, are you a U.S. citizen? If the answer is no, you would select no, and there's things you have to do to fill out forms. But invariably, the answer is typically going to be yes, unless you're in Canada. Do you wish the automatic premium loan provision on your life insurance policies? That answer should always be yes, 100% of the time. And what that is where if I purchase a policy this year and in 5 years I move and I change banks and I forget to update my insurance company. So insurance company tries to make a bank draft, and then there's no money in the account, or the account's been closed, doesn't exist, right? The automatic premium loan provision says that we will take the amount of the premium from your cash value in order to keep the policy from lapsing. This is in the interest of a client, because sometimes, a lot of times clients will move, they'll change bank accounts, they'll totally forget to let us know. In this case, then the money for the premium is being pulled out of the cash value. And when does cash value start, Ty?
Year 3.
After year 3, right? So we're saying the same thing, side of the coins. Okay, so I'm going to say yes, and I'm going to tell them why. And now I have completed all of this. By the way, it's going to take us 2 days to get through all this. In general, on average, 12 minutes. On average, it takes 12 minutes to fill out eApp. Okay, sometimes it takes longer based on medical conditions. Sometimes it's faster, but on average, it's about 12 minutes. All right, so now I've done all of this, and now I'm actually at my life insurance. I finally am now going to take the information from HP Pro, and I'm going to put it in here. All right, so I'm going to do this as soon as I answer Angel's question. Angel, what can I do for you?
So cash value is only related to whole life, right? Only for selling them a whole life.
That's correct. Term life has no cash value, has no paid up value. So term life policy is really good for addressing one specific thing. It is not good for the long term. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click on A for proposed insured A. If we remember, I look at the top, that's going to be for John Russo. So A here goes for John. If the owner was going to be John, but I wasn't going to sell him any insurance, I could select B, and then that would put B. But more often than not, you're going to sell the family. So whoever's in A is going to assign to A here. Whoever's in B here will be in B here. And then children's 1, 2, and 3 will be here for child 1, 2, and 3. You can do up to 9 children on an application by going to page 3. And when you click on page 3, you have child 4 through 9 here with all the information. But we're only going to do him for right now. So we're going to sell him a $100,000 policy. So I'm going to click on WL. Remember, there's 4 bands. You have your base band, pardon me, of whole life. You have premium, executive, and select life. So this is going to be $100,000. Jessica Smith, which bands should I select?
Which one should you select for the 100,000?
That's correct.
The WL. Whole life?
Okay, so let's do that. Let's select WL, and I select WL, and now these things turn blue. So the first thing I want to do is put in the face amount. That's going to be how much is paid out in the event of their death. I'm going to put $100,000. Don't worry about the 0 before it gets cleared out. And now I'm going to hit tab, and when I hit tab, Jessica, it says exceeded the maximum number of units. What do I do now?
I don't know, change it.
Okay,
Lower
so what
lower
this
the
is
amount.
telling, well, you want to sell 100,000. That's what HP Pro said you were going to sell, and that's what he agreed to, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that being the case, I want to click on OK. What this is telling me is that that particular band has a cap, and that cap is lower than $100,000. Okay, so I want to click on OK, and when I do that, it tells me what the cap is for that band. It is $34,999. So I know it's 100,000, so I'm not going to put it in WL. I'm going to probably put it in W or PR for premium. I'm going to type in 100,000 again. I'm going to hit tab, and oh no, it tells me I've exceeded it again. So I'm going to click OK, and it's going to tell me, hey, for premium, it's $15,999. So hopefully it's going to be an executive. So I'm going to type in $100,000 again. Pardon me. And lo and behold, it actually took, and I know it's $125.92 for the premium. Goodness gracious, I apologize. All right. Please know that you have 4 bands. If I was in the select or the upper band, the amount I need to sell in that is, in fact, 120,000. So if I'm selling more than 120,000, I have to use select band, and now you know what each band is. You don't have to memorize it, because if you forget and you try to put the number in, it will give you an error, and then it will tell you what it needs to be. So again, we know it's going to be executive and we know it's going to be 100,000. And we'll hit tab, we know it's 125.92. Now, the next thing I want you to do is 100% of the time, click on TIR for Terminal Insurance Rider. I'm sorry, Terminal Illness Rider. It's a holiday. Got to give me a break, everybody. Terminal Illness Rider. Remember, that Terminal Illness Rider doesn't cost you anything. And the way that it works is it will pay out 50% of the face value as soon as, in this case, who was it, John? As soon as John gets diagnosed with a terminal illness where he has less than a year to live. 50% of the face value will be paid out immediately, and then upon his death, the remaining 50% will be paid out. Alejandro, what can I do for you?
Might have missed this, but those 4 different bands are all still different types of whole life, or?
No, they're all whole life. It's just
Okay.
that our risk category changes the more
Okay.
we're selling. So when we select a band, what ends up happening is underwriting will do a little bit more due diligence the higher the band is, but your commission rate goes down very slightly on the policies that are in anything other than the base whole life policy. So
Gotcha.
instead of
Okay,
getting
thank you.
56%, you may get 54%. You still make really good money. It's just we have to offset the cost somehow. Romario, what can I do for you?
The premium is the monthly, right?
Well, the premium, if over here on the right, you can select monthly bank draft, annual bank draft, and quarterly bank draft. So the
Okay.
premium is whatever you select.
And then we put the number that we agreed on, right? It's not going to be automatically generated for us.
Well, none of the information you're putting on here is coming from HP Pro. They don't talk, the two applications don't talk to each other currently.
Right. But did you put that 125.92? Because maybe I didn't see you put it, or did it automatically
No,
come up?
it automatically came up when I selected this. So if I come up here and I select 90,000 and I hit tab, you'll see the 125.92 changes to 113.33. That number should match whatever you had put into HP Pro.
Okay, so we would have to change it.
I don't understand your question.
So right now we agreed on like 220 for the monthly. That's not gonna.
So you're not putting in the monthly amount, you're putting the face value of the whole life policy. That's the first thing that you're doing. We haven't talked about any of the other stuff yet. We're
Okay,
only
okay, okay,
talking
okay,
about
okay.
this. So if I was selling this guy $100,000, then that number 125.92 should match what's in HB Pro in the plan generator specifically for the whole life for him alone.
Got it. I just got confused between that and the whole policy.
Yep, we're not
Thank
at the
you.
whole policy yet. We haven't built it out yet. Maricela, what can I do for you?
So for the TIR, if we forgot to click on it for whatever reasons, can they go back to their account and edit that?
No, because once they sign it, it's locked in the way it is.
Okay.
That's why I want you to add it. Now, there's sometimes where underwriting may strip the TIR away based on their medical, but that's okay. Let them do that, right? I want you to always add it so that way you're adding an additional benefit to the client and it doesn't cost them anything.
Okay, and then so if the individual were to purchase more life insurance down the road, and then we click the TIR for them, it would only be for that new policy, correct? It wouldn't be
That's
overall for
correct.
all the.
Yeah, that's a really good point for all of us. Once you lock a policy in, you never change that policy. Even though a client may think, hey, I need to modify my insurance, that's true. They're going to modify it, but they're modifying their portfolio. And the way the modification happens is we never go back and change anything that's already in existence. We just open up a new application and give them a new policy. So if somebody says, oh, I got 50,000, I wanted 100,000, I need to change it. That's their perspective. But in fact, what we're doing is we're just adding $50,000 of whole life coverage. Okay. Brianna, what can I do for you?
When I look at mine and I just double checked, I have the super combo open. I actually don't have the TIR option.
What country are you in?
United States.
Okay. So go ahead and share your screen. Let me take a look at it. While you're doing that, Angel, what question can I answer for you?
So going back to what you were saying, the higher the policy value is, there's a slight decrease in what we would get paid.
Well, there's a slight decrease in the commission rate for that type of policy. It's minimal numbers to you. It does affect you, but it's really, really small.
What if it's 1.6?
I don't understand. What if what's 1.6?
The policy coverage is 1.6 million.
Oh, well, you will never write a policy for 1.6 million. You could, don't get me wrong, you could, but in that case, if you were to do that, first of all, it would be in trial for like ever, but for a very long time. But that's okay. If you were ever able to do that, the amount of money you're going to make is very, very significantly high. You're not going to be worried about giving up $1,000, right? 'Cause
Okay,
that's
so
how.
I really wouldn't notice.
No, you really wouldn't notice. It wouldn't affect you. I'd notice because I track every penny of anything I've ever sold. But most agents are thinking 50% of whatever they sell is what they get paid. The difference may be instead of getting 50, you get 49.8. It's so minuscule that it's not usually
Okay.
difficult.
And then my
So,
other, go ahead.
go ahead. No, go ahead.
I had another question about, oh, I forgot.
All right, I'll come back to you. Don't worry about it. Brianne, can you scroll up for me? So what you picked California when you first did this? Am I correct? Brianne, Bree, hello?
Yes, I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, so first of all, the affiliation name you'd have to fill up at the top. You only put reference and you have to put the affiliation, okay? So you put veteran or something like that. Secondarily, when you filled this out, not on this screen, but other screens, did you state it was California, CA, in the very beginning?
But I'm going to be honest with you, I don't remember, but I think so. But would that change that?
It could. It could because the state that you selected may not have the ability to give the TIR.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll
I
double check.
honestly don't know. I've never seen. Well, you know what? In addition, if you look, you see that huge empty block that you have?
Yeah, this?
Yeah, you know what? You're not in Canada. Who's your upline?
Mary. I mean, I'm on the training one. Could it also be because
No,
I'm on
it's not that. Who is your upline?
Mary Malik?
And but who's higher than her?
Jillian?
Jillian Getz?
Yes.
Okay. So if you notice, your screen does not look at all what my screen looks like. Not only do you not have TIR, you're missing some stuff in the middle.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to have to get back with you. This is a different state's application. It's not California.
Okay. So I'll fix that. Okay.
Okay. All right. So let's, stop sharing. Let me go back there. Oh, by the way, for everybody to know that most of the applications look fairly standard, unless you're in Canada, they have a different look, certain areas. And in certain states, you're going to have different questions. You're going to have different looks and things you're not able to provide because of the state laws. So the whole reason that you have the drop down is that the system will say California, Texas, whatever. It will then give you the forms associated and that have been approved by the Office of the State Insurance Commissioners. Does that make sense to everybody? So I have multiple licenses. If I do Illinois versus California, it may look different for me. Okay. All right, let me go back to sharing my screen here. We are here. We have now done the TIR. Notice we have other things here on the left-hand side. So you have the 10-year RNC, otherwise known as the 10-year renewable and convertible. We have the accidental death benefit. We have the special accidental death benefit. We have the waiver premium, and then we have stuff with the spouse and child for the writers. So in this case, we're going to do a 10-year RNC because it was going to be for $52,000, which is going to cover them in the event of loss of income. Notice we don't put on here why or how we sold it or what the reason for the budgeting philosophy, nor do we put the reason why they want the insurance. We're only putting in the application the fact that they are applying for insurance. Okay. So we're doing a 10-year RNC at 52,000 to cover 1 year. Notice that's $18.51. In our plan generator, it should reflect that as well. All right. So now we've done all of that. Nothing else we're going to provide here. But it turns out that John has a wife, right? Mary, but we haven't added Mary yet. So let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to say Russo, comma, no space, Mary. We're going to say that I saw her, and remarkably enough, her birthday is actually 01/01/1991. She is in fact 1 year younger than John, and hopefully it'll reflect that. And there you go. She's 32 versus 33. She was also born in California, and her height is 5'7" and she weighs 119 pounds. Now, if I don't put the sex in here, and this happens to people all the time, if I forget to put the sex, then I won't be able to put any insurance down here. Because remember, it won't load or won't give you the ability to do anything here until it loads all the rates. And it won't know the rates unless it knows the age and the sex and whether or not they use tobacco. So 119, again, we'll go here. She is a female, female. See, I picked male, and now the system is trying to play catch up. It doesn't care about what the name is. All it cares about is what the sex is. So I'm going to change that. So now she's going to be a female. It will catch up. And as soon as it catches up, then I can click on NTU for non-tobacco user. We're skipping 2 and 3, just like we skipped before, but we are going to put in what does she do for work. So here I'm going to say she's an engineer and she works for HP, Hewlett Packard. Once all that's done, you would think that 10 would then reflect the fact that we need to give a primary and secondary or contingent beneficiary for her, but in fact, I'm not able to do so. Because you can't do that until you click on B down here. Once you click on B, you wait for the system to catch up. It will then give you the blue here for the type of policies, and it will give you the blue fields available up here. And so now I can put in John Russo, and he is the husband. And of course, this guy is going to get all the money because he is a close personal friend of the family. So now here for B, I'm going to give her 100,000 as well. So we know it's executive. So I click on that. I do $100,000, and that's going to go to 106. She's a year younger and she's a female. That's why the rates are different. Females are expected to live on average 5 years longer than mine. No, I'm not going to go to the full time. I am going to go until I finish page 1. Okay, so that will give you guys an hour back. So once I have this done here, I'm going to click on TIR, and then I am going to include a 10-year RNC. The difference is, though, she makes a heck of a lot more money. She makes $104,000 as opposed to her husband. And so when I do that, it's $31.03. So now that takes care of both the husband and wife for the insurance policies. But it turns out I actually sold an A71 to this family. And the family contains 3 people, right? So I'm going to come down here. Here's the A71. I'm going to click on A. And when I do, I only have the option for individual, right? I don't have the option for the family. So I need to click on B. And when I click on B, now both of those people will be covered under the family plan. I'm going to go in and select this, and then it tells me which plan from 1 to 500. If you're in the state of Florida, you can go up to sextuple, which is 6. I'm going to go to 5 because it's California, and I can potentially pick an optional recuperation rider. Notice here that that premium of $22.33 matches HB Pro. However, there is a $5 policy fee to set up the A71 because we're going through a third party. So it's a one-time fee. So let's assume for the sake of argument that that's all I wanted to do. I wasn't writing any insurance on the son. It's only on John and Mary. So in effect, this $309.28 will match HB Pro with the exception of being $5 higher. And you just need to explain to the client, well, it's a one-time charge. It's only for $5. So in fact, every other month after that we will do a monthly bank draw of $304.28. Once that is done, you now have, and so we're not going to do the cancer, hospital, or critical illness because typically we don't add those. If you want to add those, you can. You just need to make sure you priced it correctly in HB Pro and then work with your upline about the cancer because the way the units work is a little bit different than just a straight payout. So 15 and 16 says, hey, I've received an outline of coverage. If you sold the A71 or any of these others, you have to put an X in here. Because when you do that, guess what happens? You get this shows up right here. So if I did not do that, that goes away. But the moment I do that, that form is going to be included in this package and the client is going to get that. Once that is completely done, 16, do you have a Medicaid eligibility card? That doesn't have anything to do with age. Yes, at a certain age, you can be eligible to receive it, but you can also get it when you're younger, depending upon your situation. So you need to ask the client, hey, are you eligible or do you have a Medicaid eligibility card? Typically, the answer is going to be no, which is perfectly fine. And then 17, age 65 and older. I have received important notice the person's on Medicare. The insurance duplicates some Medicare benefits. But remember, the super combo is exclusively for people under the age of 60. So when Alejandra Nunez, when in the world would I ever put somebody on this form that's over the age of 60?
Maybe if they're insuring somebody, maybe like a parent lives with them or something, and they're insuring the parent.
No. No, if they're insuring the parent, then they would get their own form, this senior combo. The reason I would do somebody over the age of 60 is if I wanted to include them on the A71. Okay. If I have a family where the husband is 61 and the wife is 57, I would put the husband only on this form, not as the owner. I would put him on in B. I would give him no life insurance, but I would make sure he's included on the A71. And then for him and him alone, I would also include a senior life combo and put him on that. And we'll go through all of that tomorrow. But there's just one reason I would ever put somebody on here, okay? So in this case, I don't have money over the age of 65. I'm going to click no. And so now what we've done is we filled out the affiliation. We have their name, the fact that I saw them, their date of birth, their height and weight, and their sex. And in this case, they're non-tobacco users. If they were tobacco users, you'd remove the X. I have named who is the owner of the policy. I have their sales. I have their occupation and their employer name. If they're not working, they're in between jobs, just put in what they used to do. Because 5 and 6 is statistical analysis. That's all it is. It's not, it doesn't determine rates or anything like that. 7, I'm going to put in the actual address. 8, I'm going to put in the phone numbers, make sure the primary phone number is the one that you can get a hold of them immediately. And then I'm going to fill in the beneficiaries. A will always be available to me. B will only be available once I click on B down here. I'm going to put no always for question 11. 12 means I keep it blank since 11 is always going to be no. 13, I just select if they're a U.S. citizen or not. If they're not a U.S. citizen, then there's additional paperwork that has to be filled out here, and that would pop up. And then 14, I'd like you to always say yes and explain to a client why it's in their best interest. And then I am going to list the different policies, or sorry, the coverages that I'm providing to each one of my clients. Fill it out. Always include the TIR if it's available to you. Always include it. And then in certain markets, you can include the 10-year RNC to protect against mortgage loss, income loss, debt, whatever the case may be. Once you have all that filled out, then you come down here, you're going to do the A71. By the way, you always want to sell an A71 if you possibly can with every policy, because it makes the entire portfolio that much more attractive and more beneficial for your clients. Once you have that filled out, if you fill out any of these other 4, you want to click on them here. For 15, 16, you want to ask the question, and then 17, whether or not they're over the age of 65. The mode premium here typically will default to monthly bank draft, but there are going to be clients from time to time who will ask you, hey, can I just pay for it all? Or can I pay for it quarterly? That happens. But keep in mind, The first payment usually goes through. Where we always have problems is subsequent payment. So if you do an annual bank draft and we try to draft, what is it, 309.28? So we're going to do this. We're going to subtract out the $5. And so we know it's going to be 304.28. That means next year at this time, we're going to try to draft $3,600 out of the account. Invariably, there's not enough money in the account. And then you end up with a mod. So usually we tell people always select the monthly bank draft. So all that being said, we've now filled out page 1. What we have skipped is social security number, driver's license number, and we are not putting any information in for what's called the banking information. We are going to do those 3 things at the end of filling out the application. Starting tomorrow morning, we're going to go into page 2, which if we click on page 2, here's where you make your money as a field underwriter, because you're going to ask all kinds of medical questions, and the response to those questions will dictate what your actions will be in the future. Arabelle, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was trying to play catch up with you, and eApp kept on saying that it was non-responsive. So it was
Yeah, you just have to wait.
What's that?
I'm sorry. Sometimes eApp will do that. You just have to wait. If you're going too fast, because remember, it's trying to catch up, put rates, change rates. It's trying to do a lot of things in the background. And so you just have to wait patiently for it to catch up.
Okay. So on average, how long would that take being patient with the
It depends on what questions I'm answering. Like if I change the smoking status from an NTU to a tobacco user, it may take 30 seconds. And if I'm trying to do anything else in those 30 seconds, then it takes even longer.
Okay. That's
Okay. Boom. All right, everybody. So really simply, there is no homework tonight other than you enjoying the 4th of July, because we're going to be at it again, going over page 2 and everything else that concerns eApp and field underwriting. I hope you're taking a lot of notes, because on Thursday, you will be taking a eApp and field underwriting test. So for everybody, my name is Samuel Sweet. I am a 3rd generation insurance director. I am a patriot. I'm a veteran. And I hope for all of you that you enjoy your 4th of July. Thanks a lot. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time.
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Thanks, Sam.
Happy 4th, everybody.